All right, everybody. All right. So today we're doing the first of a different type of stream. First of all, everybody take note. Take note. All right? There's something a little bit different. Actually, it doesn't look that different right now. It looked different earlier in the day. All right. But got a hair trim. Let's say trim. It'll look better once I've done stuff to it. All right, but I fucking fucked it up. All right, it's okay. The hair has been slightly trimmed. All right, the hair has been slightly trimmed. Yeah. Let me shift it this way. How does it look this way? I don't know. I have to do stuff to it. Can't be done, and nothing can be done with it right now. But the hair has been slightly trimmed, so what you're seeing is a trimmed version of the hair. So we're getting back to equilibrium. All right, we're getting back to equilibrium. We're getting back to where we once were. And here's the thing: I'll potentially be shaving my mustache today, live on stream, using a Manscaped razor for the people. All right. Did I read the chapter already? I did read the chapter. I did read the chapter. I did read the chapter. I'm actually very, very excited for the chapter. It was not a chapter I expected whatsoever. Stride Chaco, thanks a lot for being a member for 25 months. I'm going on a hunger strike till Wano video gets released. All right. Well, I hope you can. How long? Let's see. Hold on. I think the rule is like 3 hours without. No, 3 days without water. 3 days without water. 3 weeks without food, and then 3 weeks without food. All right, so I have to get it out in the next 3 weeks for Strahd Chaco. Homeless Morj? No. Okay, Maya says, just the mustache. You're going for the Amish look? No, I will shave everything else afterwards as well, but the mustache comes first because I need like an actual like mirror and setup. Like if I tried to shave my whole beard and everything right now with just a razor, it would just be too messy to do in front of stream. It's a whole pain in the ass. But I can just get a mustache. Mustache is easy. Chris Morales says, have you ever thought about getting your videos subbed or dubbed? Specifically French, Spanish, and Japanese anime manga fans are notorious for not really taking part in the English fandom much. That is a very good idea that has actually been suggested to me multiple times by my mom. My mom has brought up that idea multiple times. And it is a good idea. Let me make sure. Hold on. I'm pretty sure I have it on my list of ways that... There's like a running list of things to do for the channel. I'm pretty sure that's buried somewhere deep down. Yeah, it is there. It's just not super high priority, but it could be really good. Ancrus, thanks for being a Pirate King tier member for 15 months. Always good to hear from you, man. Hi, Morj. Please consider Kagurabachi next. Only 58 chapters so far. It'll be the fastest ongoing manga to catch up on. Top 3 favorite Hunter x Hunter characters. Start Elden Ring soon. The DLC would give of the year. Lol. Okay, so let me just piece that out. First of all, it is insane that Kagurabachi is already at 58 chapters. That is insane because it does not feel like that long ago that it was... Holy shit, time fucking flies. Because... Seriously, not too long ago, it was coming out and people were memeing and joking about it and making fun of the main character and stuff before even Chapter 1 came out. And then Chapter 1 came out and it was like a fine standard shonen chapter. And now it sounds like people really like it. My 3 favorite Hunter x Hunter characters. I do have it in my list of things, so I'm probably going to do Dandadan or Sakamoto Days next. My top 3 favorite Hunter x Hunter characters are, in order... I don't have to worry about spoilers here. This is a Hunter x Hunter stream. No spoilers needed. No spoilers necessary. My top 3 favorite Hunter x Hunter characters are Meruem. This is hard because I think most of the running cast is not in my favorites. I'd say a lot of my favorites are from the Chimera Ant arc. Okay. Let me backtrack. Meruem. It's probably I think Meruem is my favorite character from Hunter x Hunter. Hisoka would be... Hisoka has generally been my favorite Hunter x Hunter character. Hisoka has generally been my favorite Hunter x Hunter character for the majority of the story's run. But I just am not as excited about him nowadays. I'm just not. I feel like Succession War... So Hunter x Hunter is a series that you can see sharp changes in like the writing style, as the writing style and the emphasis on like almost the emphasis on certain aspects of the storytelling, like what Togashi seems to favor more and more as the story's gone on. Like again, I've always said, if you look at the Heaven's Arena arc and compare it to Hunter x Hunter today, it's just unrecognizable. Two different series, right? So if I'm thinking, like, Hisoka was my favorite part of the series for a long, long time, but it's just, I think the Succession War is the biggest jump in. Here, let me do a little chart of how I imagine Hunter x Hunter is. Okay, here's a little chart. All right. Here we go. All right. Make sure that we're all good here. Okay, I'm gonna screen share for a second. All right. Here is how I feel Hunter x Hunter kind of feels for me. All right, writing style wise, I feel like early on, this isn't quality of writing. This is not quality of writing. This is just how off the beaten path Hunter x Hunter goes. I feel like early on, like Hunter exam arc is pretty standard. Okay, not standard, but it's nothing crazy. Like if you were to read the Hunter exam arc and then you were to read like another general shonen opening arc, I don't think there's a huge gap in writing style. You might get the sense that this Hunter x Hunter stuff, it feels a little bit different. The vibe is a little bit different. Some of the things that happen are a little bit off kilter, but nothing crazy, right? Say you continue on. This is their little Killua's family arc, right? Zoldyck family arc. Then Heaven's Arena, right? Same shit. Then I think York New City is where it takes a left turn into a much darker character study. Okay? That's a poor way to frame it. It takes a left turn into not a darker character study, but like it becomes a more it presents a more interesting, nuanced roster of characters with the Phantom Troop, and it approaches some more morally gray topics, right? That's where Hunter x Hunter starts getting its shine, right? It's somewhat fairly different. Hardcore fans will tell you that it was always like, you know, the coolest shit from the first several arcs, but like, I personally really feel it at York New. Not that the first several arcs are bad. I think they're good. But just, yeah, I think York New is where I really feel it. Then you get to Greed Island, and Greed Island is where it's probably the most traditional shonen-y. Okay? And then we get the Chimera Ant. So Chimera Ant arc is where actually Hunter x Hunter goes hard into a totally different category, where it's more so like York New is kind of dabbling with it. Chimera Ant is where it goes hard left turn into more of a philosophical exam. Like the arc is it's a much deeper philosophical examination of ideas of what it means to be human, right, than anything else in the story so far. And it really aimed to be a very character-centric storyline that delved into certain, like, a very complex, layered theme that approached like what it is to, like I would say mostly what it is to be human, right? So this is when Hunter x Hunter really stood out to me as something very different. Chairman arc, I think, is back to relatively standard fare. You know, it's like different, but it's like these arcs I think are generally relative standard fare for Hunter x Hunter. Okay, and then Succession War is again a very different storyline, but this one is much more along the line. Like it's different even from the things that came before. In that this one is more, I'd say this is very character, morality, philosophy focused. Chimera Ant. Okay. And I'd say York New touches on this in a sense. But in a starts to delve into this is York New. Okay, and Succession War so far, it's not crazy character writing, right? It's not very, like, generally with very, very strong character writing, you need very tight focus. You need tight focus on a smaller group of characters looking at you, Wano, right? You get better character writing when you're able to be more focused. Succession War is very different. Succession War is different even by Hunter x Hunter standards, okay? Succession War is extremely dense plot, prioritizing mystery, cerebral aspects. Themes are more societal than themes are more societal than individual, but no sweeping. More societal than individual. But this is where this is where it veered into something very dense plot, prioritized mystery, cerebral storytelling, right? Much more, if you were to compare this to Chimera Ant, like Chimera Ant, you could see the bones of this type of writing for Togashi in York New. Succession War is very different. You could maybe see some of the bones of this type of writing in the Chairman Election arc, but that was much more standard fare. So I guess what I'm saying overall, to get back to my main point, when I'm saying like my favorite Hunter x Hunter character, please tell me I'm screen sharing. I am screen sharing, right? If I were to get back to my main point, right? Hisoka is a character that, like, he's a lot of fun when he just doesn't have as much of a place in, I think, the deeper storyline of the Chimera Ant arc. I don't think he adds much thematic value to something like that. And as the story has evolved, characters that I really was fond of for what Hunter x Hunter once was are not as interesting to me now. Because nowadays, the characters that I'm most interested in, right? I would say it might be too early to say Serednik is one of my top 3 favorite Hunter x Hunter characters, but he is definitely number 1 that I'm most interested in right now and over the course of this storyline, right? So that says something, because for what the story has become, he is a far more interesting character to me here than a Chrollo or a Hisoka. They feel to me like representations of what Hunter x Hunter's writing once was. I don't feel so far like the story is any stronger for having the Phantom Troop or Hisoka in it. I feel like keeping it tight to the cerebral chess game that's being played upstairs is more interesting. Even other characters like Morena, again, characters that are unique to this ship and its and the setting that's being crafted here, I find them more interesting so far. So it's tricky. If I were to say my top 3 favorites, it would be Meruem, Hisoka in a sense, but the story is just so drastically different that, like, the story is very drastically different. What I'm trying to communicate, what we're at right now is not even similar to what it was in the Chimera Ant arc or York New or anything like that. This is almost, a part of it is Togashi's taken such a long hiatus and had so much time to think and grow, and it's like, you're not the same person that you were 5 years ago. The things that excite you or the way that your mind works is not the same, right? So Chimera Ant arc came out so long back. York New came so far back even before that, right? Like, at a certain point, it's like, it's almost like what's going on, the type of writing in the Succession War, it's as different to York New or Chimera Ant as, like, York New or Chimera Ant were to, like, Yu Yu Hakusho. You get what I'm saying? So it's just so... Yeah, it's just such a departure. I just feel like... I feel like it's almost a tale of 2 stories, right? 2 different series. I mean, the story has become very different nowadays. No Gon, no Killua. We did arguably hit, like, a halfway point. Like, we might look back, if Hunter x Hunter ever finishes, we might look back at, like, a halfway point of, like, pre-Dark Continent stuff and post-Dark Continent stuff. So, like, a second half of the story really begins once Gon and Killua sort of exited after the chair, like kind of where the anime cut off, right? Where the anime cut off, like right here. This might almost be viewed as a dividing line later on at the end of Hunter x Hunter, whenever it ends, in that the story and writing might be dramatically different from this point onwards. That's just my thoughts. Anyway, let me catch up on what everybody's been saying. Yeah, I'd say Meruem, Hisoka, Serednik. How about that? Um, Catching up. All right. Also, let's get the stream likes up to. This is not a. By the way, I hope people don't feel like that was about quality or anything like that. It's just about feel of the writing, right? I still think Chimera Ant is the best storyline that Togashi's come up with. I personally enjoy the Succession War even more so far. Depends on how it all comes together. But it is a very different style of writing. Like, I like, if you want to know my favorite Hunter x Hunter arcs, we might do a poll after this. Or not a poll, but just want to see what people's favorite Hunter x Hunter arcs and characters are and stuff. But I can list you guys my favorite Hunter x Hunter arcs so you kind of understand. Captain Face, thanks for 2. Hey, Morj, what are your top 5 Fire Punch moments? Top 5 Fire Punch moments. The ending is number 1. Wait, no, I don't want to spoil people. Because we can spoil people for Hunter x Hunter, but not for other series, right? I don't think that's quite right. Is there a way I can spoil it without no, I don't think that there's a good way for me to go about this. Maybe I could put my fingers up and say the spoilers for that. I would have to think, though. Top 5 Fire Punch moments. Yeah, maybe part of it is that everything in the latter half goes by so fast. Let me think. I'll put 2 fingers up and I'll list off my favorite. Okay. At this moment, while these fingers are up, I'm listing my favorite Fire Punch moments, okay? If you come in during this period of time, that means that Fire Punch is being talked about, okay? My favorite moments for me, it's more so like certain scenes in Fire Punch rather than moments. But my favorite moments are definitely, a lot of it's towards the end, right? So ending last couple chapters, particularly, I think really the last chapter in and of itself is my favorite moment, right? You could say everything from the beginning of her turning into the tree and extending into the cosmos, etc., through the final moment, like the final scene. That's my favorite. But then even before that, after Agni has begun his new life as San, the transition with him in the theater and everything like that, and then revealing that it's, I believe, 80 years later, that's one of my favorite moments. The moment that Agni runs into, I forget the character's name, but the false Ice Witch, that was actually a really cool moment for me. I really liked Agni defeating that, the guy in the mech suit, the power suit, in the main city. That was also a really, really cool moment to me. I think there's something about that visual burn in my head of like Agni emerging like fully as Fire Punch or whatever, and just the art of that battle was really, really cool. And 5th, I think I would say 5th is difficult because now there's a lot of good moments to pick from. I'll do a comedy one. I'll do Tagata. The little sequence where Tagata's driving, I believe, an escape truck or something, and then somebody comes in, kills her, but she regenerates, kills them, chucks them out, takes their cigarette. Somebody comes in, tries to kill her, she kills them, chucks them out, uses lights her cigarette. Like, it's just a little funny. It's like a really funny comedy loop that actually made me laugh. So comedy moment for that. Okay, done talking about Fire Punch. Let's get the stream likes up to 50 real quick. The Lorax, thanks to the 5. More, do you feel that every Hunter x Hunter character in the boat is an expert strategist that can play 4D chess? Like Togashi, right? An idiot every now and then. There are idiots, like some of the princes are idiots. I have to go back through and remember. There's like a clear divide, though, between the princes that are smart and then the princes that are dumb. But in Togashi's world, it feels like there's only 2 categories of characters. Characters that are, like, dumb and characters that are, like you said, like, smart. Right? Like characters that you can get an internal monologue from them, and they're actually breaking down some really intelligent shit, and they're going through all the options, and it's just like Benjamin's bodyguard number 4 or something like that, some random ass dude, but we're following him, and it's like, fuck, this dude is like fucking, like, he thinks like Crollo thinks or something like that, you know? Like, there's a lot going on up there. And then, like, that's my biggest thing. I wish that there was a way to differentiate some of the bodyguards more. But it is a bit of a shocker to get to a series like Hunter x Hunter, where in this arc it just feels like random red shirts practically, like characters that don't feel that plot significant. We're in their heads quite a bit to figure out like logic trains on their end, which is interesting. But yeah, I think Togashi could write. He does write idiots, like some of the princes that have died, like especially what was Saleh Hunter x Hunter. Yeah, like Saleh. Like some of the princes, they just feel kind of dumb. Jury's still out on the book girl, the book prince, but we'll see. Captain Face, thanks to Drum Island Wapple King to Pirate, Blackbeard Pirate to King. What? Oh, Drum Island Wapple goes from a king to a pirate, Blackbeard goes from a pirate to a king. That's an interesting little observation, especially because that was the place that Blackbeard was initially introduced. That's an interesting observation. Didn't think about that. Andrew Ayanami, thanks for being a Pirate King to your member for 26 months. Congrats on finally finishing Fire Punch. Now hoping for Manga Morj video on it someday. I've got a lot of notes on Fire Punch that I jotted up after. I didn't write the notes while I was reading it because I didn't realize how much I would love it. But then as soon as it finished, I wrote a bunch of notes. And I think I've got like a pretty good like thematic essay for it in like on paper. I would like to go through it again one more time just to make sure that everything I'm observing makes sense and is accurate. But then on top of that, lots of times there's little bits of symbolism and foreshadowing that I probably missed the first time around that I would love to go back through again. Excited to see what will be the Hunter x Hunter equivalent of Law and Yamato rants along with the slander law. I actually don't really have those. I don't really have those partially because I think that... so I've gone through Hunter x Hunter twice from start... No. Yeah, I'd say twice, essentially, the bulk of it, because I've read the full thing once and then watched the anime once. And then for everything post-anime, I've read it once. No, I've read it twice. But then at the same time, the Succession War in particular is so dense that I probably need one more reread to really understand everything that's going on. Because the first time around when I was reading the Succession War, I don't know, I think it was... not far enough along that I think I liked the idea of what was going on in Succession War the first time around quite a bit. And then the second time around that I read it, I was like, holy shit, this is probably my favorite Hunter x Hunter arc, actually, that's shaping up. And now that we're back into it, I'm like, okay, this could just be Togashi's best work period once it's all said and done, okay? But part of the reason that I don't have as strong rants about Hunter x Hunter stuff versus where I do in One Piece is because... One Piece, I live, breathe, eat, sleep, whatever, right? It's all One Piece, right? So because of that, I'm more attuned to like certain things that I think are really, really dumb. And like I've read and reread the parts of the story so many times that like I'm very like when I think something is really dumb in One Piece, I am very confident that it's dumb. Does that make sense? Like when I'm talking about how Yamato's a shitty character, that's not based off of nothing. That's based on me having read the Wano arc and like having to gone through the Wano arc multiple times and like been covering every chapter of the Wano arc week to week as it was coming out in great detail, right? So everything that was happening during that period of time stands out to me quite a bit because you're streaming every chapter comes out, you're covering it, you're streaming it, you're doing a chapter review, you're putting out a scripted video the next week, right? Like there's so much discussion that's going on. So when I say Yamato's dumb, it is fresh and vivid in my mind. How many times she said, I want to be Odin. My character trait is wanting to be Odin. I just love Odin. Do I know jack shit about shit? No, I read it in a diary. I fucking suck and I want to be Odin. I know that was Yamato's dialogue word for word, right? Like there's no doubts in my mind. Hunter x Hunter, when I think something's like dumb, I gotta catch myself and be like, okay, but let me make sure, am I misremembering? Like, I don't remember off the top of my head all of Benjamin's bodyguards' names or like who's with who, etc. Basically, I don't remember some of the finer details of like, let's say, probably I don't remember some of the finer details of like York New. I could recite the majority of the plot and everything that happened. But if you asked me to give a description about like each of the other hired guns that Kurapika was working with, right? In York New, I would remember Melody. I would remember some of the abilities of the characters that died and stuff like that. But like, I don't remember hardcore. So in Hunter x Hunter, there's just like a little bit less familiarity. So I don't have as much, like, you get what I'm saying? Like, there's certain things that I remember vividly that I think are worth ranting about, like Gon, the entire cycle of Gon like losing his Nen, then regaining it with Aluka, all of that, right? Like there's some things that I think are just plain bad. I think Kite and that whole situation was very poor. And so there are certain vivid things that I could rant about, but at the same time, Not in like as passionate of a manner as One Piece, because like when I hate things in One Piece, I truly hate them because I talk about this stuff all the time. Like it's the series that I'm covering all the time, right? Versus like with Kite in Hunter x Hunter, or Gon the gaining, losing, regaining Nen, etc. One, I'd want to reread those whole sections again, get a refresher, make sure that my feelings on it are valid, and I've seen people's counter arguments, etc. for it, but I also don't feel that much passion, because passion comes from attachment, right? Passion, like, you have to really, really care, right? In general, in the Chimera Ant arc, I didn't care that much about Gon or Kite. I thought I appreciated it, but I was really, really, like, for me, a lot of the value of that arc came from the ants themselves and the storylines that came through with the ants themselves. Meruem and Komugi, I will stand by, is like, I think that is... I genuinely think that Meruem and Komugi's storyline is probably the second or first best piece. Like, I think in terms of a two-character dynamic, it is the single most profound thing that I've ever read in an anime or manga. And you can say, Morj, you haven't read enough anime or manga or whatever, but I think it is the most profound piece of, like, character writing that is something that is actually so beautiful that, like, you could throw it into, like, a great classic novel or like something like that, and it would hold up against anything. Like, it is a very, 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 like, when people try and diminish what Meruem and Komugi's like storyline was and how well thought out it was, it almost makes me feel like they're missing something or they didn't read, because you really can't diminish it. Like, it was a very, very, very special piece of writing to include in like a shonen manga of all things, right? Because it's not just like, how do I explain this? Like, Oda's really good at telling very heart-wrenching stories, right? But the heart-wrenching stories are plays on similar concepts, like kid loses their parent in some way or kid is abandoned in some way, things like that, right? Meruem and Komugi, like, thematically what it brings out is very, very, very nuanced, especially in contrast to Gon's storyline, etc., right? So in that regard, I think what it does emotionally, character development-wise for those two characters, the writing around Meruem as a character is very, very special for anime and manga standards and by any standard. And thematically, what it communicates, that's all exceptional, right? I can't imagine Takashi himself actually beating that. I would say the only other thing that I've seen in anime and manga that I think is like a comparatively amazing character arc was Thorfinn's, and I would probably put Thorfinn at number one, except I feel like the Baltic Sea arc fucks over a lot of that. Anyway, well, sorry, I think I went on a long tangent there, but a lot of that's to say basically, like, while I love Hunter x Hunter quite a bit, there is a significant gap between how much I'm attached to Hunter x Hunter versus how attached I am to One Piece. I rant a lot about certain things in One Piece because those are, like, very dear to me. Like, if Hunter x Hunter goes through a stint that I don't find that enjoyable, I didn't like the chairman election arc. I think the chairman election arc is very overrated. I think a lot of stuff that happens in there is dumb. I remember thinking it was dumb when I read it, but I don't feel passionate about it because I'm just like, yeah, that's just a stint in the story that I didn't care that much for at the end of the day, you know? Whereas with One Piece, like, I love One Piece so much that I feel passionate about the things that piss me off about it, such as, you know, like Saul coming back or something like that. Like, I'm going to care a lot about that shit. Hunter x Hunter would have to do something that affected me in a similar way. Like, if Meruem or if Togashi somehow found a way to fuck up the Meruem and Komugi storyline or something like that retroactively, I would feel passionate about that, you know? But I don't, because I just... Chairman election arc, I was like, this is kind of dumb. Mostly not good. Has some good moments, but mostly dumb. And, you know, but we're kind of past that, and it doesn't really affect my love for the series overall, you know? Whereas I had to listen to fucking Yamato's dumbass, like, cried about being Odin over and over and over to the point that it ruined a significant portion of the most hyped up and built up storyline in the series that, like, is, like, it deeply entrenched in my life. You know, it's different. Same with Law. Like, Law I fucking hated for so long. You guys know I hated Law because I waited for so... I was watching and reading One Piece week to week back when the fucking time skip happened. Oda went on a fucking month-long break. Back then, month-long breaks, it was not like today. He didn't take breaks that often, so a month-long break was mind-blowing. And we're all hyped up. We want to see the Straw Hats do shit. We're really excited for the Straw Hats. I just watched them get their ass kicked for like 2 straight years in weekly serialization. like Luffy getting his ass kicked over and over in fucking Amazon Lily Marine Ford, not Sabaody Marine Ford, etc. I'm excited to see the Straw Hats do some shit. I'm in this story for the Straw Hats. Oda leaves the post-time skip with Luffy literally in this double-page spread saying, I still have my friends. That is the author promising that we're going to get some good-ass shit for the Straw Hats after this. The final 2 chapters are all the Straw Hats resolving, like, in 2 years' time at the Sabaody Archipelago. They're all excited for that, right? And then, what do you know? We come back to the story, and it's like, here, you know what? I lied. The story's actually going to be about Sasuke. It's like, what? Why is Sasuke in One Piece? And Oda's just like, no, the story's about Sasuke now. Oh, the Straw Hats, they're all like, you know, backup characters at this point, you know? It's just, they're all back. It's the Sasuke show, and Luffy can tag along, but, like, Sasuke is going to be the one who beats the strongest character at Punk Hazard. Sasuke is going to be the one carrying all the action for, like, the first 50 chapters of Dressrosa, while Luffy plays patty cake with, like, absolute fodder in a coliseum, and Zoro runs around in, like, a fish costume or some shit looking for his sword, and we're going to ship off half the Straw Hats to some other island so we get more Sasuke time. It was fucking mind-blowing, and then the worst part was that other people didn't seem to care. Other people were like, oh, we fucking love Sasuke. He's so cool. He literally got second in the popularity poll. He's the first character to beat out, like, Zoro and Sanji for, like, second place, or Zoro specifically, to get second place in the popularity poll ever. What the fuck happened? And everybody was just, like, nutting over it. So, yeah, like, I don't have that level. Like, in Hunter x Hunter, I'm not going to feel that way. If you tell me, like, hey, Gon and Killua are gone for, like, literally the rest of the story, I'd be like, that's cool. I don't care. I'm not really attached to them in that way, you know? If you told me Kurapika dies this arc, I don't care. I don't really care about Kurapika's. I think out of the main 4, even if you can count Leorio in that main 4, I like Killua the best, then Leorio, then Kurapika, then Gon. I don't care for Gon. And you know what? I'm going to go back to saying Gon the way that I said Gon, which is this way, Gon. And some people said I'm supposed to say Gon, but I'm going to say Gon. Anyway, that's the general point. I like Hunter x Hunter a lot. I love the story overall, but I'm not deeply attached to certain characters and storylines. I take the story more arc to arc than I do with One Piece. And I would be, like, sincerely, if you removed a lot of the variables in this Succession War arc that are, like, mainstays of the story, if you removed, like, fan favorites like the Phantom Troop, if you removed Hisoka, if you removed Kurapika even, I would be able to enjoy the Succession War just as much with the new cast of characters assembled. Chimera Ants, I love the new characters that were assembled more than anything else, including Morel, Knuckle, like good guy side characters as well, you know? Generally, I'm not super attached to a lot of the mainstays in Hunter x Hunter. Captain Face, oh no, Manny, thanks for the 10. Hey Morj, I finished part 1 Chainsaw Man, and your video on it was fantastic. Thanks a lot. I still think it is the best analysis video I've ever put out. Shame it got, I will always bitch about this on streams, but it did get age restricted, which killed its growth. I know the age restriction in the video is demotivating, but would you consider making Manga Morj at least monthly? So, one thing that I've discussed with my editor lately is a couple things, okay? One, we're potentially going to be putting some of the video content that we have onto TikTok. That's one thing. But 2 is potentially trying to cover some other series as well. We are split between, especially as Oda has started taking more breaks, and we don't know how much more frequent that's going to be. So we are split between, do we try and keep putting out content on other stuff on the main channel? Do we go back to trying to manage Manga Morj at the same time, which is a huge time investment because it would require trying to make 2 channels really blossom at the same time, right? We don't want the One Piece channel to do poorly, but it's hard to make another channel blow up and reach like a good, good reach and everything, right? So it's difficult. So what we're most likely going to do is possibly test the waters with dropping like a little non-One Piece related video here or there during times that there is a dearth of One Piece content. Because I don't want to not put out One Piece stuff. That's the thing that most people are interested in this channel. And at the same time, like, it's a One Piece channel first and foremost. I don't think I would enjoy if, like, an NBA channel that I was watching frequently suddenly just started saying, hey, some weeks we're not going to cover NBA stuff. We're just going to put out NFL stuff. I'd be like, that's nice, but that's just not my cup of tea. So I want to be cognizant of what viewers also want and see if there's a way to do this that's not disruptive to myself or to viewers, basically. But I am itching to do it more and more, especially now that there is breaks with One Piece. Captain Face, thanks for the 2. Do you think the Chimera Ant arc should have been shorter? I personally don't think it should have been shorter. I think that the length of time and build up to its climax was perfect, but I think that there are definitely things that could have been done to make the in-between, to make the earlier and mid stages of the arc more interesting, okay? Because, so I'm saying you don't have to make it shorter, but I feel like there's things that could have been done to keep up the, just more interesting events, I think. And interesting is a vague, I hate the word interesting, and I hate the word boring, because they're not real criticisms or, it's more so just like I didn't find it interesting, I found it boring or whatever. I wouldn't even say I found it not interesting or boring, but I feel like there are definitely ways that you could write in. How do I say this? Okay, so for example, right, with great example, the Hunter x Hunter chapter that we just got, right? The Hunter x Hunter chapter that we just got. It's setting up this card game, right? And I'm betting that if Togashi is taking the time to set up such a complicated little game, it's reflective of him having sat in bed for like God knows how many months and thought of this fun game as a scene, right? So I trust that this game is going to be exciting, right? I personally feel like even though this game is not really drastically moving the plot forward, I would guess maybe it'll move the plot forward a little bit. It's a cool scene to insert in the story right here, and it adds some characterization to on both sides for Morena and I fucking forget the girl's name, the other girl's name, the girl whose name begins with a B, right? Forgive me if I'm not the sharpest with some of the characters with Hunter x Hunter. Borskin, it was a dumb name. But I'm excited for the scene. The scene is a cool setup, okay? And I imagine the scene's going to be an interesting, exciting scene. I feel like with the Chimera Ant arc, there were definitely interesting... Interesting's a poor word. It's just like... I think especially once they re-entered, you know, like I'm thinking of little examples. Like, I found Killua and Ikalgo, that entire showdown, to be pretty dull when it happened in the forest. Like, I wish that there were some more spicy, like I feel like a lot of what happened in that setup phase, right? I'd say post Gon and Killua losing Kite, I'd say there's a large section there where I feel like it is setting up good character stuff. It is setting up, you know, their arcs, you know, a lot of the ideas of the story. It's building suspense towards the final battle, right? That's good. But I feel like there might have been some more... I don't think there's really classic or iconic scenes in that whole section of the story. And I wish Togashi had been able to think of some stuff that was like a bit spicier or more memorable from that section of the story, in my opinion. So it's not the length, and I think what he did with the time was good. But if I'm looking back, I think it's just kind of like, if I were to try to get somebody to watch or keep up with the Chimera Ant storyline, right? I know that there's a stretch of the story where I would have to just keep telling them, like, hey, just keep going, like, it'll get good, right? Because there's not individual moments that, like, there's just a dearth of individual really exciting moments for some period of time there, I think. So it's kind of like, you'd have to just, there's not like a thing that I'd be waiting on them to get to that's really exciting. Does that make sense? Yeah. Bork. Also, let's get the streamlights up to 100 real quick. Hold on. Catching up here. Attilia, thanks for the 5. Morj, since you take edibles, do you ever experience poor side effects from it, like the day after? Increase in negative thoughts or bad thinking? Because I do. Okay, that's interesting. I don't take edibles often. I've taken edibles before. I think in my life, I've probably taken edibles less than 10 times in my life. And it helped that the most extreme experience I ever had with edibles was the first time when I had a brownie, right? I think I've shared that story before. I literally believed that I was going to die. It was a whole thing. And my friends did not believe me because I was not, in fact, going to die, okay? Um, since then, I think I've been better with edibles, but poor side effects from it, like the day after. I don't think I can remember anything that's outside of the brownie incident. I don't think I can remember any time that I took an edible where the next day I had leftover like negativity or something. I will say that increase in negative thoughts or bad thinking, because I do. I would say, man, that like, is that something you only experience after taking edibles, or do you experience that with marijuana in general? And are you sure that you've isolated that? Like, let's backtrack here. Are you sure that you've isolated this to being edibles? Is it just edibles, or is it marijuana in general? If it's not marijuana in general, then could it be, is this just something that you're experiencing because you're experiencing it, and there's a more important root issue that needs to be addressed there? My thought is just that I feel like for some people, marijuana can have different effects, right? So for some people, marijuana can in some ways like increase negative thoughts. Like a lot of people use it to relax and chill out, but it can also increase negative thoughts. That was definitely something that I've experienced in social situations. When I'm by myself, I've never really felt that way. But yeah, I just want to see, like, is it possible that you're, getting really high and then that in turn is leading to those sort of thoughts? Or the reverse is possibly that if you feel like if you have a really good night, you take an edible or something, you go to sleep, you feel really relaxed or something like that, maybe you're waking up in the morning and it's not an effect itself of the marijuana or the edibles, but maybe you feel bad internally about yourself, that maybe you feel like you didn't spend your time well that evening, or problems that you're keeping at bay now come rushing back or something. I'm not a psychiatrist, I'm not a therapist, but those are just some things that I throw out before considering that, because some people might feel bad after having smoked, because they feel like they wasted the night. Or you smoked initially to make some bad feelings go away, and now that the high is gone, those bad feelings come back. Those are also possibilities. So just something to consider, man. I hope you're doing okay. Tarek says, Yo, Morj, you watching Arcane? No, but Arcane is a show that I definitely should get into. I've heard so many good things about Season 1, and it sounds like Season 2 knocked it out of the park again. So Arcane could be a really, really good watch. Sorry I'm not watching it, but, if I am, maybe I'll do some discussion stuff, like streams on that. The Water God, thanks a lot for the 10. The princes seem to represent convictions present in our world of how our society should be, like Tyson's generic power of love. Yet Wobble seems very innocent, but also has a darkness in her. Any predictions? So the darkness scene that you're referring to, I imagine, is when there was that bit of aura that kind of came out that also suggested that she has a guardian beast, right? I don't know if that is necessarily indicative of her own darkness, or if that's indicative of, just the idea that guardian spirit beasts in general are kind of scary. But I like the implication that it is her own darkness, or like there's something very sinister there, right? You're saying the princes seem to represent convictions present in our world of how our society should be. I do think that there is merit to that idea, for sure. I would need to go back through the princes again to make sure that like makes that all lines up in a way that makes sense to me. But I do believe that I believe a couple things, which is that the prince's Nen beasts, right? Almost all of the prince's guardian spirit beasts seem to reflect some sort of some sort of way that's related to influence, right? They all seem to reflect some sort of way that's related to influence. So, for example, Benjamin gains powers from those that were, subordinate to him, right? Like he gains his subordinates' powers, right? Or was that his own Nen ability? I forget. But yeah, like Tyson with the power of love, Saleh intoxicating those around him, right? The third prince with the coins that he's distributing, right? Like they all seem to be based around influence. And then you have someone like Serednik, who it seems to be based on lying, right? So being able to tell when somebody is lying to Serednik or not. So it all seems to be centered around how these different figures, like, view the best way to maintain influence or gain power, right? Like some through true loyalty, some through spreading a sort of dogma, some through like getting everybody in to like enjoy the same vices that they're enjoying, right? Halkenberg, for example, it's like forced loyalty for the sake, like it's like a faction that keeps growing and growing, and then it just keeps sucking more people into its dogma as it goes by force, because it's like this will be the way that things go, right? So I do like the way that the Guardian Spirit Beasts have been done so far. I do like the idea that each represent a conviction of how society should be. Let me pull up all the princes so I feel comfortable with not misnaming anybody. Some are like interesting cases too, like Camilla, because she actually is almost like a person of the people in a sense, although not really. But like the idea of the lowest caste, etc., finding value through her. I need to see basically I need a hard refresher of what each prince's value system really, really is. Oh my god, each prince is so... There's so many fucking characters in this, it's insane. And also, what about Fugetsu and her sibling? I guess not each prince necessarily. Captain Face, thanks for 2. Yorknu was more fun in my opinion, but Meruem had the best moments. I would say, so for example, like similar to what I was saying before, Yorknu, like Chimera Ant arc being very slow, Yorknu has a lot of... The plot is more bouncy. Like there's more going on in the plot chapter to chapter, episode to episode. Everything's kind of already in motion from the beginning, and once things kind of get rolling in motion with Yorknu, it's kind of nonstop. There's not really a break point. Like every twist and turn leads you to another interesting scene. Like, oh shit, now Gon and Killua are being held captive by the Phantom Troop, right? Like everything's leading to another interesting scene. But the Chimera Ant arc needed more time and characterization and build up, because it really was largely about character arcs, right? More than anything, it took the longest time to build out these character arcs. So I just wish that we could have a bit more, if there's a way to find more interesting plot stuff to include there. Fushizumi, thanks for being a Yonko tier member for 17 months. Yo, haven't been able to catch the streams live lately. Love your Hunter x Hunter takes. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it. I do have a Hunter x Hunter arc analysis out, but I've not watched it myself in some time. Hold on. I kind of want to watch my own video to get a refresher. But the video is more so about the arc's themes and didn't go too in depth into a lot of the what each individual character represents. Oh, it's only 12 minutes. Oh, okay. Hold on. Hold on. What if we watch this? Let's get a refresher together. All right? Let's see how we feel about this, okay? Hold on. Let's get a bit of a refresher together. All right. Here we go. And you guys get desktop audio. That's desktop audio. All right, here we go. What is the main theme of the Succession War? Okay. While there are a variety of ideas present in the arc that will be broken down... I should have credited the artists for these. Normally I try and do that. Fuck, I feel bad now. In this video, the central linchpin... My mic was not good for this. ...theme seems to be mankind's perpetual struggle to maintain peace and the inevitable collapse of order. If the Chimera Ant arc examined what it meant to be human, the Succession War is a broader examination of society. Agreed. And the flaws of man that ultimately lead society as a whole towards violence and chaos, no matter what countermeasures or systems we desperately try to erect to maintain peace and balance. Keep in mind, this was written and stuff at an earlier point, so there's more things that have come up through the Succession arc that I would add to that should be talked about and added to this, obviously. But let's see what I had at this point in time. Any question why the Succession War needs so many characters,
but it is only precisely because it has such a large cast of characters that Togashi can effectively show a complete, structured society unravel before our eyes. A ship sets off with a grand mission that is meant to mark a huge step forward for mankind as a whole. And with all levels of society represented, the poor, the middle class, the military, the justice system, the government, nobility, it's all there, neatly divvied up in the isolated and enclosed space of a single ship, we can watch how natural human tendencies lead man to eat man in real time. So let's get into it. From the beginning of the arc...
Can you guys hear okay? You guys hearing okay? Yeah? Audio okay? Yeah, alright.
The emphasis on maintaining balance on a global scale is emphasized, with Kakin's attempt to colonize
Yeah, that's a big thing, the idea of maintaining balance throughout this.
a new continent, immediately sending ripples through the V5 and forcing them to incorporate Kakin into the new V6 to maintain the illusion of order and unity, despite the fact that it's made clear that there are ulterior motives at play. This is the idea that pre-frames the arc, as the ship, the Black Whale, initially begins with an extremely sound structure and sense of order. The princes safely tucked away on the top level, the Hunters Association and key members of the military on the second level to maintain the peace as the police and justice system, and the bottom 3 levels run by mafia families that keep each other in check. From
Good points, Morj.
here on, the primary struggle will be to maintain this illusion of order, even as more and more disruptive forces begin to arise. Now, while there are 5 levels, you may notice that as I listed, there are really 3 main sections that matter to the ship. The top level of the princes, where they're having their succession war, the bottom 3 levels where the mafia war has begun, and finally the second level of the Hunter Association and the Kakin military, which can be considered a sort of failsafe level, the floodgates that are meant to prevent all hell from breaking loose in either of the other sections. But as has been pointed out recently, even those on this level do not know where exactly their allegiances are meant to lie should things devolve into a complete state of nature among the other levels. And that's a problem that's fast approaching, as the succession war has begun above with the king having pitted the 14 princes against one another, and the mafia war ramping up below, as the Char R family and the ZU family have begun trying to retaliate against the Hai Li family that is attacking indiscriminately. In both the top section and the bottom section, a silent but bloody war has begun to play out. Not quite at a point of open warfare, but violence and murder are beginning to become the norm.
Yes, good observations. And then the second level is basically the little sandwich level in between that's desperately going to be trying holding everything together. That's going to fail. All right.
Every prince is using all their resources and their newly acquired nen beasts to fight back against the others, just as downstairs, countless dozens of members of the Hai Li family are using their newfound nen powers to assault the other families. And in both sections, among the princes and the commoners, the primary goal of the characters being framed as the protagonists is to bring about a ceasefire and achieve balance. Kurapika is driven by the naive belief that the succession war can be brought to a halt if all princes are forced into a sort of stalemate. If only everyone knew nen, if everyone had access to the same tools and weapons at their disposal, then everything could return to a state of forced order.
I will always think, like, if you want rants or whatever, I think that is a, like, obviously patently dumb logic, but it's presented in the story as making sense because we all know that it's only inserted in order to make the story more, to move the plot along to where Togashi wants to get it to, right? But by any logic, it makes no sense.
Yet ironically, these attempts to force peace and balance are only adding fuel to the fire, as everyone schemes to use their newfound nen abilities to win the war, with Kurapika possibly having led to the creation of the single most dangerous nen user in the entire story, Serenich, a living example of why not everyone should learn nen. And downstairs, things seem to be headed down a similar path, as the mafia heads, Hinrai and Zeniwang, also believe that things can return to a fair and balanced stalemate, with the families going back to leaving.
I really forgot about this, that like so much of the language throughout the succession war is about balance, maintaining balance, trying to protect balance, and everyone's delusions about how you can kind of preserve balance in a society that has inequality, first of all, and 2, differing, obviously, human motivations for greed, power, etc.
Leaving each other alone and maintaining an equilibrium by simply killing Morena and hiring the Phantom Troop to do so with the promise of giving the Phantom Troop Hisoka, none of them realizing how far in over their heads they are trying to manipulate such dangerous characters. And obviously with the direction that both the Princes section and the Commoner section is going, this delusion that order can be maintained is quickly being disproven. Both Kurapika and Hinrai still dream of a return to balance, but what they don't see is the vast web of motivations and the selfish, vengeful, greedy desires that the gigantic array of characters across the ship from top to bottom possess. Yes, Togashi is going more in-depth than ever.
I forgot that this is a real page. I thought that this was like a meme page, but it's a real page.
With inner monologues of even the most minute characters, and while that may be a fair criticism to be discussed in another video, the purpose of this is to give an overarching feel across the entire ship of how humans in such a dense, complicated conflict operate, encompassing everyone from the first prince down to the lowliest subordinate.
That's a good point. Everyone listen up.
The purpose of this is to give an overarching feel
I'm making a good point.
While that may be a fair criticism to be discussed in another video, the purpose of this is to give an overarching feel across the entire ship of how humans in such a dense, complicated conflict operate, encompassing everyone from the first prince down to the lowliest subordinate. Because if the point Togashi is making is how societies eventually fall apart at the seams, then what are the key recurring ideas Togashi is weaving in as the reasons behind societal collapse? Well, he's covering the full range. First and foremost are easily greed, selfishness, and arrogance among those with power.
There we go.
The
I remember
range.
There's some shit.
First and foremost are easily greed, selfishness, and arrogance among those with power. Traits that we see in the most overtly evil princes, Benjamin, Camilla, and Serednik. Those with power who desire more and aim for sole supremacy. But then you have the more complicated figures, those such as 9th Prince Halkenberg or 3rd Prince Zhangli. Those with power who seem to have more noble intentions, but in the face of those other princes who aggressively and selfishly push for more power, even the more noble-minded individuals will be forced to eventually take that same path for the sake of what they believe to be the greater good. But on the other end of the spectrum,
this is a good breakdown.
From the princes, there are of course the commoners, and particularly the downtrodden greater good. But on the other end of the spectrum from the princes, there are of course the commoners, and particularly the downtrodden individuals of High Li, who are running rampant across the ship, killing without hesitation in order to increase their own standing. It's a fairly blunt metaphor, a literal depiction of lower classes chasing power through ending. It's a fairly blunt metaphor, rampant across the ship, killing without hesitation in order to increase their own standing. It's a fairly blunt metaphor, a literal depiction of lower classes chasing power through any means necessary to continue to rise up the ladder with the dream of ultimately overthrowing the higher classes. And in that vein, why did this bloodbath in the lower levels even begin? Well, it all started from one woman, Morena, who was giving out Nen abilities with the hopes of bringing the society that cast her out and treated her like trash, burning down to the ground. The succession arc repeatedly reiterates how poorly those of lower class are treated, as outcasts or even sacrifices, and Morena's actions can be seen as a long brewing backlash against the nature of such a society. While her subordinates strive to improve their standing and climb up in level, her true desire seems to simply be revenge. She is the natural backlash spawned from the inherent injustices and inequalities of society.
I'm really curious. Oh, fucking... This is actually mind-blowing that the way my mind works is very similar to how it already used to work in the past. Because as I was reading that and hearing myself say that, I was like, I am curious how that would work with, like, Morena running into Crollo and the Phantom Troop or something. Seems like a match made in heaven in terms of a lot of their personal motivations. And then look at that. We got a Crollo anime clip right here. Which means that was what I was thinking already.
Plays into the next driving motivation of so many characters, those who could not care less about order and would happily disrupt it for their own personal revenge.
There we go.
The Phantom Troop are like a bull in a china shop, further threatening to disrupt the balance of the three families in their own pursuit of revenge against Hisoka. And
this video needed graphics. It needed graphics illustrating everything I'm saying, the categories of each different faction that you see in society and how they all individually act. Because the video just comes across as too basic, in my opinion. If I could redo it, I think a lot more graphics would help.
Interestingly, this arc we finally got to understand the Phantom Troop's origins and motivations. They too are the byproduct of the outside world society at large, treating those at the lowest levels of society like trash, till eventually the Phantom Troop hit their own breaking point and essentially declared themselves to be the enemy of the rest of the world, and since then they have wreaked havoc and destroyed order themselves anywhere they go. The point is that the Phantom Troop's response to how society treated them is not so different from Morena's. They too don't care what happens to society as large, as society has not been kind to them. And in that vein, revenge is a defining theme of this arc. Morena seeks revenge against the nobility, the Phantom Troop against Hisoka, Hisoka against the Phantom Troop, the Char R and ZU against Morena, and to top it all off, Kurapika seeking revenge against Serednik and the Phantom Troop is a likely game-changing eventuality around the corner as well.
The editing for this video is ass. A standard Tuesday video that I put out has better editing than this. I think this video's editing was a bit of a rush job on our end. This was back when we were trying to do too much. Because we were trying to get out one big analysis video for Manga Morj a month. And, like, it was pretty much impossible. Because, like, getting out the Chainsaw Man one took so long. That took, like, 3 months. And that was, like, a huge project. And to date, maybe the most in-depth analysis video I've done. Right? Then we tried to get this one out, like, the next month. And so it had to be way shorter, way tighter. And just not that much time for editing. And then the month after that was a JoJo's video that was fun, good, I think well done overall, but it was a lighter topic. It wasn't a deep analysis video.
With revenge being such a prominent theme, it's interesting to think about how this is reflected by the recurring idea throughout the arc of Nen becoming stronger after death. It's not random that an arc so heavily focused on revenge emphasizes this aspect of Nen in particular, as the concept that even after you are killed, the consequence that comes out of it may be even stronger than when you were alive exemplifies the idea of revenge perfectly. Inflicting great pain onto someone may come with an even greater retribution afterwards. And it's particularly interesting that revenge is so important here, as arguably the single most crucial linchpin in maintaining order in the Succession War is Kurapika. Kurapika is the figure most driven to maintain balance, the one striving to keep things from falling into a complete state of nature on the top floor, the one pushing for ceasefire, openness, peace, trying to teach everyone Nen to make it a fair playing field, and yet he is also the one that has the most deep-seated drive for revenge. It is simply a buried desire at the moment that has not yet had reason to be triggered, as he is not yet aware of Seretnik's eyes or the Phantom Troop's presence, which is such an exciting ticking time bomb for this arc, positioning Kurapika to be the ultimate representation of those in society who fight the hardest to maintain peace, while simultaneously giving Kurapika a very personal cause for throwing that away and pursuing violence himself, is a brilliant way to illustrate how fragile order and balance can be, the idea being that it doesn't matter who you are. Even the staunchest peacekeepers are only human, and will naturally have their own triggers and breaking points that could cause them to abandon peace and join in the chaos. Now, I may be getting ahead of myself here, as we have yet to see what action Kurapika will actually take once he finds out about Seretnik and the Phantom Troop, but a crucial crossroads is looming ahead for this character, as the last and most important figure maintaining balance on the upper floor. And Togashi is clearly saving these revelations for Kurapika for a very significant moment. If the black whale is a powder keg waiting to explode, Kurapika may be set to be one of the most important sparks. And so looking at the entire setup of this society in a bottle, what are we being shown? In a nutshell, how easy it is for things to fall apart, as the vast range of human motivations make it impossible for order to be maintained forever. We see those with power who will happily fight for more, those who wish for peace but decide they must fight for power in the belief that it is for the good of society, those without power who will seize the chance to gain more power and eat as many along the way as it takes to climb the ladder, and those who have been cast out by the ones with power who will happily take any opportunity to see the world burn down in revenge. And while the full thematic message at the end of the arc may yet have more layers to it, with perhaps a more even-handed look at the good of man as well as the bad, much like the Chimera Ant arc, at the moment, this is the wonderfully cynical messaging we have for the Succession War arc so far. And if you enjoyed this video, then definitely...
Good shit. Good shit. Good shit. Well said. Well said. I agree. I agree. That was a good refresher. That was a good refresher. I agree. I feel recentered on several of the main themes of the arc. I think there's obviously more than that. But that was a mini video. There's a mini breakdown. I agree with my statements there. I agree with my statements there. Yeah, good shit. Good shit. Okay. So, I also like how... I like how that helps reframe a little bit for myself the various, what the core idea of the arc is, what Togashi's saying, why he's going for such a large societal overview, why he created a society in a bottle, why there's so many different factions, and how each of them have very different motivations that are all seemingly leading to the same end point, right? Regardless of what one's motivations are, it all seemingly leads to the same end point. There's no way to keep things together, because everyone wants... As long as, yeah, I think we need to wait a little bit longer to get to the final pieces of messaging for it, but as long as society is structured in a particular way, particularly a tier system that's based on hierarchy and power, right? Everyone's going to be competing. Even those who want to stop the competition find themselves competing to stop the competition, right? Even those at the very tippy top, right? The princes, they find themselves competing. Those at the bottom are going to kill to try and rise up. Those who've been cast out are going to want to just see the whole thing burn down. Those who are the peacekeepers, they're only human. They're trying to keep everything together, but at the same time, they have natural human motivations and personal desires. That's ultimately going to get in the way from being like an infallible source of peace who always keeps the balance. Kurapika is the perfect example of that. Right now, Kurapika is the patron saint of the ship, but he's got a devil inside of him, right? He's got this devil inside of him that's itching to get out when it comes time to take down one of the princes or the Phantom Troop or something like that, right? So good shit. All right, we're catching up. Hold on. I know I missed some things. Let me just make sure we're catching up. Cigar Verk, I see you. Give me a second, man. Sorry about that. Morj be like, this guy's spitting. Okay, first of all, JWP, thanks for gifting the memberships. I hope you enjoy. Holy shit, thanks for coming through. I didn't know how much of a... Yeah, I'm happy that you're supporting the Hunter x Hunter discussion. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm glad. I hope you enjoyed watching the me watching myself, I guess. But yeah, thank you very, very much for the support. It does make me want to continue doing Hunter x Hunter content, seeing the interest in it. Cigar, and everybody shouts in the chat to JWP. Coming through, there's a smaller chat than usual, so you guys had a higher chance of getting the memberships gifted to y'all. Also, let's get the stream likes up to 100, because we're almost there. Cigar Verk, thanks for being a Yonko tier member for 26 months. I think Kizaru might be stronger than Luffy after SBS, especially since I think he flew away to ship, not so that he doesn't have to fight, and he can't act he lost. I don't think he flew away to the ship, though. From everything that we see of that scene, right? Also, if you guys have not shouted out JWP in the chat just yet, make sure you shout him out. Everyone say thanks to JWP, as usual. I'm just looking at what I can only evaluate what I see in front of my eyes, right? So just real quick, and I don't want to belabor this point too much. If people disagree, they disagree, but it's supposed to be, you know, not a One Piece stream, but I'm just addressing this point real quick, right? From my observation, from what I can see with my own eyes, right? My visuals, what I can see with my own eyes. What I see is this, right? What I see is this, okay? Luffy smashes them together, okay? And then they're pizzaed. They're both pizzas, right? So right now, Kizaru's this pizza, Saturn is this pizza. Kizaru is stunned. He has stars around his head. He has stars around his head, that means that he's stunned, right? He's stunned here, okay? Then he's still a pizza. He's stunned and he's a pizza, right? I don't think I'm lying about anything I'm saying so far. He is stunned and he is a pizza. And then he is thrown in pizza form, so he's still in pizza form. He was stunned and put into pizza form. And then he lands on a ship. I do not believe there is a single thing that you can say about this scene that indicates that Kizaru had any control over what was happening to him here. These stars indicate being stunned, correct? Like, I don't know what to say. He's in pizza form. I don't know what he's supposed to do in pizza form. He is in pizza form while he's being thrown. I don't think he did anything that indicates that he was the one controlling where he went. It just seems like he was chucked pretty directly into this ship. I don't know what to say there. If you want to argue that he could have done better if he was like in better mental health, which I do agree he probably could have done better. I don't know if he would have won. I don't think that there's anything to suggest he would have won. But I'm sure he could have maybe done better. I'm sure he could have maybe done better. I'm sure he could have done better. But I'm saying that in the state that Kizaru was, at least, mental nerf, whatever, I don't think there's anything in this scene that indicates for a single moment that he, at this point in time, had any control over what was happening to him, right? Maybe not mental nerf Kizaru would have been able to somehow prevent himself from getting pizzaed. Who knows? But I think once you're stunned and you're pizzaed, that's basically that's your life then. You know, that's just what you are for the moment, right? Okay. JWP, thanks for the 10. I feel like it kind of aligns with what you said in the video, but with what we've recently seen with Chrollo, it seems like he's actively falling apart in his search for Hisoka. Revenge. He's ready to die. Great additions. Great additions. The themes of the arc so far seem to be largely structure of society, how different human motivating factors, etc., in a given society eventually lead to a certain lead to collapse, right? How human society is always doomed in a sense. I think even the flashbacks that took place in this arc feed into these into this critique of human society and the idea of tiers, classes, things like that. With the flashback that we got being about Meteor City and the Phantom Troop, right? Revenge is also a really big theme, right? Revenge is also a really big theme. We're getting it from Kurapika. We're getting it from Hisoka. It's fucking funny that, like, you know what the fucking funniest thing is? The fucking funniest thing is that you know who wants... So, Chrollo wants revenge, right? Correct? Chrollo wants revenge? What does Chrollo want revenge? I mean, what... Sorry. Chrollo wants revenge. Chrollo wants revenge. It makes sense, right? But you know who else wants revenge? You know who else wants revenge? Fucking Hisoka. Hisoka wants revenge. Hisoka's out for revenge. Isn't that the funniest shit? Because, like, normally when a character wants revenge, it's because they were wronged, like, deeply wronged in some way. So, you know, there's the assailant and the victim, right? Or, like, the victim and the perpetrator, right? But in this scenario, Chrollo wants revenge on Hisoka for killing his people, right? Hisoka's out here wanting revenge, and it's just like, dude, you're the problem. Like, you're the one that you wanted the fight with Chrollo in the first place. Like, you pursued him for like months for this fight or whatever. You got your fight. He gave you the fight. You got away with your life. You're still alive. Then you went around killing his friends and stuff, and now you're still searching for revenge. Like, what? Like, do you like what the fuck? Like, they're. It's just because Hisoka's so fucking warped in his head that in his mind he's also out for revenge for something that he brought upon himself. Like, Chrollo didn't just like kill you in cold blood or something like that. You asked for that, and then he killed you, and then you did a bunch of petty shit to him, and now are still looking for revenge against Chrollo. It's like, this guy's fucking like so fucking. I don't know. It's just funny. It's like the fact that Hisoka. I guess you're saying that Hisoka just wants to fight, says Nasser, so it's not really revenge. But if he just wanted to fight, I feel like his actions so far really strongly suggest that he is salty, and he wants the run back. He wants the salty run back. You could say that's not necessarily revenge, but everything that he's doing so far makes it feel like he wants the run back, right? He wants the salty run back. He's looking for looking to get one back over Chrollo, right? And he's going about it in the grimiest way possible, killing as many of the spiders as he can on the way, right? Blackness Prime says, "Yo, I think I'm gonna get revenge for losing this fight." I know Hisoka. I read the chapter 2 weeks ago. Yes, Hisoka is lustful for battle, but we can also read into a little bit of like why he's got a certain chip on his shoulder here, which is that he is salty that he lost the fight, right? He's not just like, oh, you know, you beat me fair and square. He wants to beat Chrollo again. Like, he's not cool with losing that fight, right? He's pissed at Chrollo. He wants to get the win on him, and he's doing a lot of petty ass shit along the way that he really doesn't need to be doing. Hisoka just crashed out, lol. Rainstorm says, salty but not revenge. Chrollo is the one deteriorating mentally. I agree, and I do think that things are gonna, like, I think it's an interesting setup that Togashi has presented with Kurapika, obviously. The way Kurapika obviously feels about the Phantom Truth, the revenge that he wants to get for his own people, etc. And now you've got Chrollo in the exact same position, this time wanting revenge for his own people. I am curious to see how the Kurapika, because we've got a certain collision course set up, right? We've got Kurapika, Chrollo, and Serednik, and these are all objects, and Hisoka, I guess you would add into that pile, right? Bet you can't do that shit twice, bitch, Hisoka. I feel like Kurapika and Serednik is the encounter that I'm looking forward to the most. But then at the same time, now Chrollo and Kurapika becomes a really, really hotly anticipated. I mean, it's been a hotly anticipated scenario, but it's more so hotly anticipated from Kurapika's end. And now Hisoka and Chrollo. Like, there's several different, like, very revenge-centric encounters that we're really, really waiting on, that any single one of them is going to be extremely heated. So just organically, Togashi set up several encounters that we're all, like, we've got the whole plot overall that we're really, really excited for. But then beyond that, we've got the individual character-to-character dynamics and character-to-character relationships and motivations that we're waiting to bubble over. All right, I'm going to go to the bathroom real quick. Once I get back, we're going to talk a little bit about... I would like to share some of my speculations as to what's going on, and if we're interested in it, then maybe it leads to a video. So my speculations as to what is going to happen next. So I'll be right back. Sorry about that. Okay. Let's get the stream likes up to 100, first of all, for audio. Second, I wanted to share a little bit about a theory that I want to release. I think it's an interesting theory. First thing, no, I'll get to the theory first, okay? Oh, people are talking about matchups. Krolo and Kurapika versus Serednik. I could see that. I could see Krolo and Kurapika versus Serednik. That'd be cool. Audio should be on right now. I think audio should be on. Hello, hello, hello. Yeah, audio should be on. Okay. Audio should be working. What are you guys talking about? Hello, hello? Yeah? Yeah, should be working. Okay. Anyway. So let's start with this, okay? This is a genuine question. Okay? So with Hulkenberg's situation right now, the theory that I have that I'm thinking about making a video on is related to Hulkenberg and Benjamin, okay? With Hulkenberg right now, do you all feel like Hulkenberg is, how do I say this? He has been pronounced dead, right? Do we feel like that is the end of Hulkenberg in his main body for the rest of this arc? As in, is Hulkenberg as a player, if he were to continue in this game, would it have to be through taking the identity of somebody else, right? Is the identity of Hulkenberg done, right? Let me ask that. Is the public identity of Hulkenberg, yes, permanently done? Yes, Hulkenberg is only in spirit now, so he has to transfer to somebody else. Okay, there's no point in me doing a poll for that. Okay, interesting. Fuck, then if I share the whole if people are pretty much on board, okay, because the biggest holdup with me dropping this theory would have been, like, if I'm missing some aspect about how Hulkenberg could return to his main body, or, like, something like that. But if people agree that Hulkenberg is likely gone as his public identity, he would have to steal, somebody else, likely Benjamin's identity, then that changes things quite a bit. Then Justin Camiller said, with a great point, I think his goal is the same as before. He doesn't care about winning, so his body doesn't matter. He just wants chaos and the game to be over. I don't know if he wants chaos, but he is against the idea of the game, and he does see a vision for the future of the country. Okay. He can still win, but just in someone else's body. Okay, then I've got a very interesting theory. I think I'm actually going to... Okay, so Jordan Vance says Hulkenberg is going to take Benjamin's identity. Okay, hold on a second here. Okay. 8 Baller 10 says I think he's going to get his main body again somehow. I don't know. Okay. Good shit. Okay. Is it... Okay. Do you believe Hulkenberg or Benjamin will die by the end, will be out? Benjamin's time in the story is about to be up. Yes, one of them is permanently gonna be gone. No. They both continue somehow. Okay? Let's start this. Do we feel like we're reaching one of the main fracturing points where Hulkenberg or Benjamin, one of them, by the end of this whole scenario, is going to be out? Do you feel that? Lua Tugbobo, thanks for the 5. There's a theory that Hulkenberg will return to his main body like Jesus. He's always surrounded by 12 disciples. Oh, shit. That's a really, really interesting theory. Like him rising from the dead after 3 days. That's not the direction that I was thinking, but that's an interesting theory. Okay. 69%, 70-something% of people think that one of them is going to be gone. All right, good shit. Okay, so here's the direction that I'm going. First of all, if we look at all the main princes, right? Hunter, princes, right? If we look at the main princes, why is there not a simple image that showcases the princes, right? Okay, let me go to the wiki. Here we go. Okay, so if you look at this shit, if you look at the princes, right? We've got the princes, but the thing about the princes is, so far, some of them have been removed. None of the major player princes have been removed. If I were to compare the princes in terms of significance, I would say, in terms of significance shown so far, let's say, okay, let's not say significance. Okay, let's say overt significance, right? Overt significance in universe in the Succession War, right? If we're looking at overt significance, so by that I mean, for example, we the reader know that Wobble is very significant, right? We the reader know that, but Wobble has not been made out, like, by the standards of other princes. Wobble is not significant, right? Similar to, for example, if we look at Fugetsu right now, right? We, the reader, feel like Fugetsu is probably an important character in some way, but in universe, right, the princes that are being portrayed as in universe, the princes that other princes treat as like the major players are basically this, right? It's something like tier 1. Tier 1, we have, I would say Benjamin, obviously. Benjamin, Zhang By the way, I've low-key come to like Zhang. I thought he was boring at first, but now I'm interested. I'm very interested in where his ability goes. Serednik, I'd say this is tier 1. Maybe, I'd say tier 2. I'd say tier 2, maybe Camilla, Tubeppa. I'd say Camilla could be tier 1. I don't know. No, sorry. Halkenberg. Here we go. Halkenberg. Right? Lazarus. I'd say that feels about right. Tier 3, this is what's been presented, right? What seemingly has been presented, as far as I can tell. And this is vague if you disagree with the tiers. Tier 3, I think, is like, I feel like Tyson is tier 3. Solid, although Tyson's story can go in an interesting direction, I feel like Tyson felt like tier 3. Solid felt like tier 3. And then at the bottom tier, you had like the lower end princes, right? These were the princes that I think everybody else underestimated. Fugetsu, Momose, Mariam, Wobble, right? These might end up being major characters, but in story, they're not significant, right? So far in the story, right, we've crossed off, so Sale is out, right? Why is this not letting me cross out? Sale, okay, I guess we'll just make it red, right? Sale is out. Kacho is out, right? Momose is out, right? So you notice, like, so far, it's mainly princes on the lower levels of significance, right? You could even combine tier 1 and tier 2. I know Camilla is very significant for the curses and everything like that. But these are who you would call probably like the main players in this game, right? So far, none of them have exited the game. I feel like Zangle you could even put one tier below. I feel like the ones that Tagashi was really highlighting as like what Tagashi felt like was highlighting as the main biggest players in the game were these three. Like Benjamin, right off the bat, first prince. Serednik, main villain. Halkenberg was sort of this like, where is he gonna go? Like, we understand he's very important, we understand he's very significant, but like, where is his story gonna go, right? We really didn't understand. We just understood he's significant. He falls somewhere more complicated, morally. We understand that he has a lot of support. He's like this sort of like Harvey Dent shining white knight type figure at first, kind of, right? So these three were big players, right? And the ones that have been getting crossed off so far, why is this not turning? Hello? Turn red. Okay. Hello? What the fuck? What am I doing? If I do green. Okay. Now red. Okay, there we go. Yeah. There we go. Okay. So the ones that have been getting killed off so far, it's been less hyped up plot characters, right? The ones that we've been keeping around so far have been the characters that have been implied from the beginning are a big deal in the game, right? So for Hulkenberg or Benjamin to go down right now would be kind of insane. These would be probably, out of the princes that Togashi sort of presented as the most significant players that wield the most, that have the most edge or most influence, sort of, it felt like these three are the big three players, really, right? And then these four are all very significant, but just not quite as emphasized as much in the plot. So for one of these three to go out now seems very jarring to me. It seems very jarring to me. You guys see what I'm saying? But I could see it happening. My theory is one of that, like something like that happening, okay? So my question to you all is, which one of the two is it gonna be? Who is it? Who do you all feel? Water God says, see, that's one of the things that I'm agreeing with Water God. Literally one of the first setups for the Succession War arc is Benjamin expressing his hatred for Cedric and saying he will kill him with his bare hands. No way he dies now. I agree. I feel like there's something interesting that this is leading to. I am personally of the opinion that Hulkenberg is the one that maybe does not succeed in this scenario. And what this actually sets up for plot-wise is something kind of crazy. Okay? But, keep this in mind, I'm trying to figure out right now, because I'm not as in touch with the Hunter x Hunter community, am I missing something really big? Is there something about Hulkenberg's writing or something that I'm missing out on, like some sort of Chekhov's gun or something like that I'm missing out on, that would make it impossible for Hulkenberg to die right now? JWP says Harvey Dent is a great comparison for Hulkenberg. Yeah, I think so. Do we think... JWP says, I feel like we're supposed to think Hulkenberg is going to kill Benjamin. Exactly, but I feel like Benjamin is not going to die here. I feel like Hulkenberg could be exiting the story. But James S. is saying Hulkenberg is more likely to go first, but I don't think he'll be out soon. That's the thing. Like, that's where I'm at right now, which is like, it feels like I pointed out, Serednik, Benjamin, Hulkenberg, they feel like the three most significant plot-wise princes that Togashi's putting forward for us. Again, Wobble could be the actual most important. In a sense, Wobble already is. Fugetsu could be the most important in a sense. Fucking Tyson could, right? But those would all be a bit more surprise picks as things progress, right? Right now, it feels as though from the very beginning, these three were being set up as the biggest. So, is it too bold to think that Hulkenberg somehow exits the game now, right? Let's see. Could Hulkenberg exit? Could this be, okay, here, is it more likely Hulkenberg exits permanently, Benjamin, or both? Let's see. Hulkenberg dies. I don't know. I said both. I'll say neither. Both is ridiculous. I'm supposed to say. The fuck? Why is this moving slow? Sorry, one sec, guys. Here we go. What the hell? Oh my god, my poll just fucking... Took so long to set up the poll, it just disappeared. Oh my god. Is it more likely... Guys... Benjamin. Here we go. We're back. More people lean toward... this is tight. Okay, so this is cool. People do believe. Most people seem to believe... No, actually, it's tight. But the majority of people believe that this is the end of the line for one of them, which would be kind of insane because this is like a big three. Like these are two members of what I view as like the big three princes in terms of significance. Serednik, we all understand is going to be there till the end, right? But this is setting up some big ass shit, you know? Okay, so more people believe that Hulkenberg is going to die. I'm of the train that Hulkenberg is the one that goes. And I think what it sets up is actually very, very interesting. All right. So, I mean, I could see Benjamin dying. I could see Hulkenberg dying. But I do feel like one of the two is going down here. I also didn't really predict the showdown going down specifically between Hulkenberg and Benjamin. I thought that... I just didn't really... Like, it didn't feel like it didn't feel like that was a matchup that was set to really... go down in my mind. It just feels it's complicated because both of the characters, it feels like there is more in the story for them. There's more space in the story for them to go, you know? Like Hulkenberg's plotline has actually been very interesting to me. He's been maybe the second most interesting prince in terms of how he's going after Serednik for me. I don't find Benjamin that interesting, but I feel like he's supposed to be very, very important in a way that, you know, it's hard to imagine Benjamin exiting the story. It's hard to imagine Hulkenberg exiting the story. And the fact that it's so split, like 40%, like 45%, 38%, that's very interesting. AO says, I don't think Benjamin dies until he enacts martial law. Huge Chekhov's gun. That is a good point. That is a very good point. Okay, I think I'm gonna do a Hunter x Hunter video. I'll do a little Hunter x Hunter video. I'll drop it maybe this week or something like that. No, I don't know about this week. Might be tight. I do want to do a little Hunter x Hunter video and test the waters, because I think I got an interesting little Hunter x Hunter theory. It's not the craziest theory, but I think I got one. It could be fun. The only question is, do I drop it on Manga Morj or the main Morj channel? That's the number one question. I don't know. Disciples is Hulkenberg's funeral, Riot, Benjamin's martial law. That does flow pretty well there. Okay, I see some stuff. Yeah, I want to drop a theory. John Smith says Benjamin feels like a competency check. If you can outwit him / his guards, you're probably a major threat. All right. I will do a Hunter x Hunter video. I need you all to watch it. That's important. I need you all to watch it. If y'all watch it, then there'll be more Hunter x Hunter content. But I got one that's fun. Okay, good shit. I do want to talk about real quick. How do you guys feel about the current arc? Wait, let me show real quick. I don't think I shared yet. First of all, let me make sure I'm caught up on supers and all that stuff. Okay, I think I'm caught up. Okay. Yeah, just here, 1 second. So I'm curious, can you guys guess my Hunter x Hunter arc ranking? Curious if you guys can guess that. Kind of want to share that a little bit. If we're going to be doing more Hunter x Hunter content, you guys need to know the arc ranking. Actually, wait. Let me do this here. Let's do a quick tier list maker. Just a fun one. Just a fun one to have on in the background. Hunter x Hunter arcs. Just a little tier list maker to have in the background. Oh my god, this is too many arcs. This is too much. There's only like Hunter x Hunter, there's how many arcs? There's Hunter Exam, Zoldyck Family, if you count that, it is an arc. Yeah, Zoldyck Family, Heaven's Arena, York New, Greed Island, Chimera Ant, Chairman Election, Succession War, right? So anything I open up, it should have about 8-ish things, right? Yeah, this feels about right. 1, 2. This only has... No, this is too short. What the fuck is this? This is Greed Island? Okay, Greed Island, Chimera Ant, Heaven's Arena, They need better symbols for this shit. Oh, labeled. There we go. Labeled is good. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, and we got Hunter Exam. Yeah, we're all in order. This is what I was looking for. Okay, so I'll do a quick little one of these. Dark Continent Expedition. Why is this counted as an arc? Can anyone tell me why is this counted as an arc? It's not a real arc. There's nothing to really rank here. This isn't an arc, right? For me right now, we're not going to do this very, very long. We're just going to, like, it's not going to be an elaborate tier list. I just feel like this is an easy way for me to showcase things. Like, I don't even know what happens to the Dark Con. It's just, like, them getting ready, right? It's I feel like it blends into chairman election. It's just explaining that the Dark Continent exists, and then moving on, right? James S. says Greed Island is last place easy. Dr. Farewell says Island says Greed Island is top 4. I'm going to make very clear. This is my personal preferences, right? So actually this is not how good the arcs are, actually. I shouldn't have done a tier list. Tier list is, like, it's my favorites, okay? My favorites, not best, okay? JWP, thanks for the 5. Best, okay, Boat, Chimera Ant, York New, Chairman Election, Greed Island, Heaven's Arena, Hunter Exam, and Zoldyck Family. Yeah, and that's all that really is. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I just don't count Dark Continent Expedition as its own thing. Okay. Here we can do one that's like this is just my favorites. Okay. I think Zoldyck Family is too short. Don't care for it. I find Hunter Exam solid. I think I like Hunter Exam a bit more than Heaven's Arena. I just find Hunter Exam fun. I find Hunter Exam fun. I think at some points it just feels a little offbeat as far as like opening, like everything just it's hard to explain, but there's something just odd all the way through about the Hunter Exam arc. Like everything goes a little bit off or not quite the way that I expect, but nothing ever gets so interesting that I view it as an amazing arc. But it's just, it's like a curious little journey. I like York New City better than Hunter Exam arc. I like Greed Island better than York New. But I would argue that York New is the better arc. I just really enjoy Greed Island. I think Greed Island is really fun. It's a breath of fresh air in the Hunter x Hunter story. I think it's like some of the most brightest and positive Hunter x Hunter is as a story. And the volleyball match is just like, I think in terms of like executing common shonen, like not common, but like typical shonen writing, which is very much based on like feel good emotions, friendship, things like that, right? I think Greed Island's volleyball match is Hunter x Hunter's best version of that, in my opinion. So I enjoy Greed Island quite a bit. Chimera Ant arc, obviously a step up. Chairman Election, I low-key don't really like. But the problem is that it introduces cool concepts like the Zodiacs, Jing, Aluka. It all the way through the Chairman Election arc, it feels like there's cool little plot development, like there's cool plot developments constantly happening. I think it hooks me a bit more than the Hunter Exam arc. I remember reading the Chairman Election arc and I thought that a lot of the things were dumb or a little bit pointless. So I put it around here. Yeah, maybe there. And then Succession War so far, I'm gonna be honest, it's my favorite. It's my favorite. If I were to do based on like what I think the best arcs of Hunter x Hunter are, right? This is like my personal preferences. Like I think Succession War so far is my favorite. I'm just hooked every single chapter. I don't think I've disliked a chapter since the Phantom Troops backstory. I've liked every single chapter, I believe. Or maybe the last time that Nobunaga got his fucking swords and shit. Like that was that was dumb. I think everything since Togashi's come back, let's say that every chapter since Togashi's come back has been an amazing chapter to me. I'd say over here, if I were to rate based on what I think are like best in terms of writing, I'd say Chimera Ant is S. I'd take Succession War out. I wouldn't rate it just yet. I think Succession War, though, is gonna be same tier as, I think it's shaping up to be same tier as Chimera Ant. Then I think Greed Island, Chairman Election. I mean, Zoldyck Family is fine. I think it'd be something like this, honestly. It's kind of a weird tier list, but I think it'd be something like this. See if this makes sense, okay? Because it's just like, this is how I view like writing quality. I view these as like standard Hunter x Hunter arcs where the writing is kind of a little bit all over. Like it's a little bit unclear. Not unclear, but it's kind of just like, okay, sorry, Heaven's Arena should be higher. I'd put Heaven's Arena here. Yeah, I think this would be right. I think these arcs, I just think that Togashi is kind of like a stop, go, like a little bit of a choppy momentum to these arcs. I don't think these arcs have very good flow. I think that they have some questionable sections. I think that, like, it's just a little bit muddy across the board. And I could, if I went back through the arcs, I'd be able to point out everything that I view as muddy about them, but they're, like, good. Like, here, SS, let me make it look a little bit cleaner, right? So it doesn't look insulting, right? SSS. Nah, I think this feels right. S-A-B-C. Yeah, but these are short arcs, so this is not to say that most of Hunter x Hunter isn't that good. I just think these are short arcs. Right? Like, relatively speaking. Right? I think Greed Island's a good arc. I think York New... Here. So people don't get upset, right? I think people will read too much into the letters, okay? This is just me separating, okay? I think these arcs are fine, just a little bit muddy, in my opinion. I think Greed Island is a good arc. I think it's a solid shonen-style arc. I think York New is Hunter x Hunter's first, like, special storyline, and then Chimera Ant is its phenomenal storyline, right? Zoldyck Family, that's fine, too. It's just short. There's not much to say about it. But then these are my preferences. This is going by preference. These are my favorites. Love these arcs. I like these arcs a good deal. I like the arcs. These arcs, I'm solid on. Like, they're fine to me. Don't love them. Don't hate them. They're fine. Didn't care for this arc. That's my feelings. I think it's good, though, that Hunter x Hunter's best arcs also happen to be its longer arcs. Yokai Goto says, I unironically like the chairman election arc. I know a lot of people like the chairman election arc. I guess I just didn't. It's not my thing. Not my cup of tea. Actually, it's not even not my cup of tea. I think it was fine. Like, I think the chairman election arc, how do I say? I really like the concept of that being the arc. I think that Togashi picked two really good things two storylines to juxtapose, which is the saving Gon storyline and everything that went on there, and the political storyline of the Hunter Association, what they were trying to do there. I think that arc is also a really good segue into the newer age Hunter x Hunter storytelling, which is like, he really did not write like this before, which is very, like, lots of competing politics, large factions, large numbers of characters, with this sort of like playing this political chess game, right? The chairman election arc was his first foray into that, and it was a lead up to what we're getting right now in the succession war, right? So I guess you could say the Hunter election arc was, the chairman election arc was a little bit of practice into getting into that style of storytelling, right? So I didn't think it was as clean as what he's doing right now with the succession war, where everything is really methodical, really, like, you can see where every movement of the story has purpose and meaning, whereas the chairman election arc is just, I don't know, I think it was a little messy, comparatively. Ender Ayanami says, Chimera Ant is best, then Greed Island, then York New City, then Succession War, then Heaven's Arena, then Hunter Exam, then Zoldyck Family, then Chairman Election. I've done this poll before. How do you guys feel about the Succession War right now? How do you like Succession War? Favorite arc in Hunter x Hunter? Great. Good. Fine. Fine/bad, I guess. Yeah. Not that good. Here, how about that? That's what I got. Evan G says, looking very skibbity riz tonight, Morj Llama. Oh, I forgot to do the goal for the shaving. Maybe that'll be next stream. I'll see. Joey Santora says, I think the introduction of Pariston and Jing as a rivalry beyond our comprehension made the election arc really interesting to me. Here's the thing. I was very interested about the Jing and Pariston rivalry. I did not find the way that it played out over the election arc to be that... I found that to be underwhelming. Over the course of the chairman election arc. It felt like a sloppy sort or like poor chessman. Like there was never a point where I was like, oh, this character did something really smart or brilliant or something. I think Togashi told us frequently that what this character did was very smart or brilliant, but it never actually felt that way. And it just kind of felt like whatever by the end to me. I was very excited for it going in. I just felt disappointed with the way that it played out. JWP, thanks for the 10. In my opinion, there's only 5 real distinct arcs of Hunter x Hunter. Beginning, Hunter Exam through Heaven's Arena, York New, Greed Island, Chimera, and Succession includes Chairman. The tone switches a lot between each. I actually strongly agree with you there. Does Hunter x Hunter do sagas? Because I feel like that would make sense. Because there is a solid sort of... One, you're very right that that there's a sharp tone and writing change between each set of what happens. I think the one area I would disagree is just I feel like the chairman arc should fall into the Chimera Ant arc as sort of like a post-arc epilogue almost, because it's wrapping up the storylines from the Chimera Ant arc, and it's kind of like after the heaviness of the Chimera Ant arc, it's kind of like a softer like palate cleanser, if that makes sense. It just wraps up the storylines, it connects the final piece, which is Gon meeting his father. And it kind of puts a bookend on everything that was happening before. There's a reason that's where the anime ends, and it feels right. And then from then on, we get the heavy Dark Continent focus. Like, it ends with the Dark Continent being explained. So from then on, everything is now Dark Continent focused, leading into the Succession War, right? I think we don't even find out about like, the V5 and the V6 stuff until after, I might be wrong, until after that whole Dark Continent reveal. When Jing tells Gon. But I agree with you for the rest of it. It does feel like the first few arcs of Hunter x Hunter. Man, I kind of want to go back to watch the first few arcs of Hunter x Hunter again. They had a certain like odd charm to them. It's just the first few arcs of Hunter x Hunter are really hard to place in terms of like their tone and storytelling style. Everything feels like a little bit janky or disjointed, and like sometimes something kind of like it goes a little cool or slightly unexpected direction, but not in a, like, it also feels like a little bit off sometimes as well, or like something kind of went in a cool direction, but not really. It's just very hard to explain, but there is a certain charm. And then I would agree that York New is when you get a suddenly much more fully realized and mature story. And then Greed Island feels like kind of its most clean, like shonen-esque fun story, right? And then you get Chimera Ant, which is its most deep, character-driven, character arc focused, resolving a lot of the character storylines that had been building for so long, and just a really profound examination of a lot of far deeper philosophies than you'd gotten in the story before. It turns into its whole different beast. And then you get, the Succession War stuff, which is like very, I guess you could say Game of Thrones on steroids, very plot heavy, mystery heavy, just very, very dense cerebral storytelling, which is very different as well. I would agree with you. I think that's a really good way to split it up. I would almost say that if Hunter x Hunter had sagas, then I would feel like if Hunter x Hunter had sagas, right, then I would say that I don't know if it does have sagas, so forgive me if I'm mistaken here. I would say that Hunter Exam, Zoldyck, and Heaven's Arena, right? Hunter Exam, Zoldyck, and Heaven's Arena is all one saga. And it even makes sense because the Hunter test ends when you learn Nen, right? That's essentially the concept. The Hunter Exam kind of concludes once you've learned Nen. So this is all just one continuous little start and finish. I would also add that like it even makes sense as a saga because like the primary villain or antagonist that's presented here at the start of the Hunter Exam is Hisoka, and Gona's nowhere near Hisoka here. He's still nowhere near by the end, but the final concluding battle of this saga is, it sets up Hisoka as a villain here, and then the saga concludes with Gon fighting Hisoka. And that's pretty much the last time we're going to get Gon versus Hisoka till God knows how far into the story, right? Then I feel like you had Chimera Ant and Chairman election here. Sorry. Yeah, then York New City I feel like is its own little saga. Then Greed Island is its own saga. And then Chimera Ant and Chairman election together. I think those count as one saga. And then this whole Dark Continent through Succession War is one saga. And I think once they actually reach the Dark Continent or the Gatekeepers or whatever, I think, or the guide to Gatekeepers, whatever, I think that'll open up the next saga of Hunter x Hunter. I would say that one of the most curious things about Hunter x Hunter is the York New and Greed Island situation, because I think generally people view York New as like the more prominent and significant arc in the grand scheme of things, right? Like the spiders, how dark it went, the Kurapika story, Hisoka, all of that stuff. Whereas Greed Island is like generally a lighter storyline, right? A lot of people die, but it's people we don't give a fuck about, so it's just like, yeah, whatever. And like they showed up to the island to die or whatever. Like it's a lighter storyline, it's more training focused or whatever, but in the narrative, it's framed as though Greed Island is the place that they're really trying to get to, right? Greed Island is really, really hyped up. And York New is just like the trial that they have to go through to get to Greed Island, right? So Greed Island is what's really, really built up. York New is just the stepping stone to get there. But as it turns out, narratively, York New was the really, really crazy storyline. And Greed Island is like, it's a fun adventure. It's more so just a fun adventure, which doesn't end up being that consequential in the grand scheme of things, right? They get a bit stronger. That's their main thing. Greed Island's like a big training arc that's done well, right? Wait, am I? Oh, I'm not screen sharing. Fuck, I wasn't screen sharing for this. Here we go. This is, sorry guys. This is what I'm saying are the sagas. This is Hunter examined through Heaven's Arena, York New City being its own saga, Greed Island, then Chimera Ant and Chairman election, then Dark Continent Expedition Succession War, and then I think the next saga will begin once we're past all this, in my opinion. Amr Yasser, thanks a lot. Just caught the stream, but yeah, tell me what you think of Hisoka as a villain. Personally, he's my favorite villain in fiction. Hisoka was my favorite character in Hunter x Hunter for a long time. He was my favorite character in Hunter x Hunter. If I would look at Hunter x Hunter characters... Okay, actually, we're looking at the full story here. I think Hisoka was my favorite character all the way through... this is not a tier list of how I like arcs, right? This is just first saga, right? Second saga. Third saga. This is just visualization purposes for what saga... Otherwise, if this was my actual view, then it would be just like, it gets worse every arc, which is not the case, right? I feel like Hisoka was my favorite character from the beginning through here, through the Chimera Ant storyline and the Chairman election storyline. Like, Hisoka was my favorite character, and even through most of here. Like, for a long time, Hisoka was my favorite character. I think once the Chimera Ant storyline came around, by the end, Meruem was kind of like tied with Hisoka as my favorite character. And as time has gone on more, I think I view Meruem as my favorite character. Killua was top 3 for me, top 2 or 3 for me as well, for a long time. It's just that by the time we got through Chimera Ant, I actually didn't like Killua as much. It's hard to... A lot of little things kind of added up. I also found his biggest moment of character change or character development being removing a literal physical needle that was preventing him from... That was causing him to act the way that he did in so many scenarios. I thought that was kind of lame. I think that Togashi is so much better as a writer than that. I think that Togashi really does not misstep with character writing in general. I think that if I were to I think that's one big thing you can say about Togashi is that it's very rare across the entire story that I'm just like, oh, that was really not good, or that was kind of bad or kind of dumb. I think Killua with the needle is probably one of the biggest moments of that in the entire story. That's very prominent. I think Killua with the needle is really, really bad. I've seen defenses for... The thing with Togashi is that even then, like, there's defenses that you see for it, like... like the Kite situation, you'll see some defenses for it. The Gon and Aluka situation, you see some defenses for it. Defenses that I don't think are like that bad. I will give Hunter x Hunter this credit, which is that like Togashi is generally, I think Oda is a writer that does not prioritize, like he heavily prioritizes feelings over certain other aspects of the story, and like his own feelings very often as well. Which is why One Piece, while it's a fantastic story, and it's written over such a long period of time, right? You're gonna have some iffy parts. I think One Piece there's a lot more moments in One Piece that I can think of that I'm just like, that was really bad. Like the Pell thing, or even just like the Sanji nosebleed at Fishman Island. Like there's a lot more moments in One Piece, like, or like Amnesia for the 50th time or something. There's many moments in One Piece I'm just like, this was really, really not good. Not many, considering, like, One Piece is such a long story, it's just going to happen. But there are moments that, like, you can tell that Oda he's not the tightest in terms of some aspects of, right? Like, he doesn't think anything wrong with using Amnesia for, like, the 10th time. He's just like, oh, it works in the story or something. Oh, I'll just make the story work however, whatever, right? Togashi, I feel like, is a lot tighter with a lot of the decision-making that he makes. And a lot of the why, and does this make sense, and especially his character writing, I don't think there's missteps generally. I think that Chimera Ant, for as great as it was, and it has the highest highs, I think funnily enough, this has the most little points of criticism I would make, which is the needle. I guess the follow-up with like how like Gon getting his Gon not facing actual consequences, right? And then the Kite scenario. I think Kite's probably one of the biggest things where it's just like, why? You didn't need to, like, why? Really did not need to bring this character back, I don't think, outside of, like, fans maybe liking him. I don't know. Yeah, I would say that. I don't know why I brought that up. But, okay, anyway, Hisoka as a villain. I liked Hisoka as a villain quite a bit. I just feel like now with this section of the story, the Succession War just feels so drastically different writing-wise than everything that came before. That I am no longer as interested in Hisoka, no longer as interested in the Phantom Troop. Again, to me, they almost feel like relics of like Togashi's writing style in the earlier days, like back in this era or this era. Whereas I feel like things are so much juicier right now, honestly, without those characters. Maybe I'll change my mind as the arc progresses, because I'm sure that Togashi's got some really great stuff cooked up for where the Chrollo-Kurapika storyline's going to go, where the Chrollo-Hisoka storyline's going to go, the effects of it all. But right now I'm just really, like, I would genuinely love this story, even if you removed Kurapika, even if you removed the characters that I know of, like Leori or like Bisky, stuff like that. Even if you remove Phantom Troop, Hisoka, you can remove them all. I would still really find this a fucking interesting ass storyline. I think you need Kurapika as like the conduit to, like, he's our window into this whole conflict, and he kind of grounds it. But you could have fucking replaced Kurapika with, like, it's so well set up, this setting and this cast of characters and the competing storylines, that it's almost like you could have just started with this. And you could have given us a brand new character, for me at least, that wasn't Kurapika. And as long as it's a well-written, like, I could have vibed with that character from the very beginning. Like, we need a main character to be following and to care about, and to be caring about their motivations and their role in this whole thing, and them kind of carrying the plot. So we need Kurapika. I'm not saying you don't need Kurapika, but I didn't need that character to be Kurapika, right? Kurapika's playing a role that's necessary. But I just like I love seeing all the princes. I love the idea of like the families below and learning more about that. Morena, right? Like, there's so much going on that is specific to the ship itself that it's almost like I don't know how much these other pieces are needed necessarily. If you go back and watch my video, even, like, I talk about how, you know, I feel like the Phantom Troop adds to some commentary on society, obviously. But you could probably like, I drew the parallel to Morena because I think Morena already fills that hole in a sense, and you could actually just expand more on Morena's storyline to get that point across. Chrollo with the revenge theme, that helps as well, but there's other characters that you can communicate the revenge theme through that already fucking exist, right? I just I don't know how, like, I mentioned Hisoka's like a cool wild card in the plot, but like, I feel like the story's really well fleshed out as is with the characters that it already has. I wonder how much is Togashi feeling the need to include, you know, his normal roster of Hunter x Hunter characters to some degree, just to, because it's in the story of Hunter x Hunter, right? So he needs to have some characters, and he just picked the ones that would work best with this storyline. I don't know. But it's clear why like someone like a Gon or Killua is not necessary to carry this plot. JWP, thanks for the 5. You can literally see the difference you just explained between Oda's writing and Togashi's and how the power systems work. Haki versus Nen lol. Yeah. Haki versus Nen that's a big one. And it's rough because it's just like, Oda does, like, there are moments where we get full chapters, like the Hyogoro chapter and stuff, dedicated to breaking down the different, like, here's level 1, here's level 2. Like, Oda will, my frustration with Oda is either just, like, either don't try and include rules, or just stick to making the rules very clear and very obvious and understandable when you do them, right? Because, like, it's Oda, like, Oda does go out of the way to explain like the different tiers of this and that, the different uses. Like he makes a big deal out of it and why this or that like type of Haki is very important, right? But then when we get characters fighting, it doesn't really come through. Like the complexities of Haki don't really come through. Like Luffy and Kaido fought for like God knows 50 chapters, and then like throughout the fight, characters are asking like, is Luffy using Future Sight? Is he not using Future Sight? Can Kaido use Future Sight? And then, like, randomly, like, we get one panel where it's revealed that Kaido has now started using Future Sight as well. It's like, oh, shit, Kaido's using Future Sight. Does this change that much? No, the fight mostly just continues. Like, he dodges a move, and then it mostly just continues. And it's like, okay, so from now on, are they both using Future Sight? Was Luffy using Future Sight the entire time before, and Kaido wasn't? If so, how was Kaido ever hitting Luffy? Like, it's like, why? And then obviously let's not even get into the advanced armament, advanced conquerors situation or something like that. There was like a Twitter post I saw earlier today that I thought was really fucking funny. That was roasting, I don't want to find it and pull it up, but it was roasting Haki in general. And then there was a commenter who was saying like, it was just a screenshot of an interaction that basically summed up Haki discourse in One Piece, right? So like somebody was initially critiquing Haki and talking about how it's always hard to tell what's going on. Then a commenter comes through and says that, no, it's not. I can fairly easily tell. Oda's made very obvious what the cues are or whatever for Haki in One Piece. You just need good reading comprehension to be able to tell between advanced armament and advanced conquerors, okay? So then the previous poster posts Luffy kicking Kizaru. If you remember, Luffy kicks Kizaru when he starts the fight, right? And there's some Haki. So he was like, okay, if it's so easy to tell, then what's this? Commenter, Haki defender, responds, oh, well, that's pretty obviously advanced armament. It's a mixture of advanced armament and advanced conquerors to me. Pretty obvious. It's like, okay, if that's obvious, then what's this? And and so the guy then posts an image of Luffy and Katakuri hitting each other with the exact same visual and exact same type of sparks and black lightning coming out. And then the Haki defender had no response for that. And it's basically just like, okay, fuck. So, like, we literally can't, like, even times that it seems like, okay, it's obvious that it's advanced armament or advanced conquerors or something like that, you can almost always find a fucking counterexample to be like, okay, but what about this one? By that logic, this one should obviously be advanced conquerors or advanced armament, but we don't know because this example actually contradicts the newer example that's being brought up. It's just, there's too many moments of contradiction. I just wish like Oda either didn't make it complicated, or he either keep it basic, or just stick to something clear. Like stick to something clear, or have characters say when something's being used. Honestly, though, actually the biggest thing is just like why not just have a bigger indicator, you know? Because it should be really simple. Like why not just have a different indicator? It could have been something as simple as just straight up like, use black coding for armament, never use sparks for armament. That could have worked. Then anytime we see sparks coming out, we know it's conquerors. I don't know. There's not really any logic to it. But anyway, it looks like most people really like the Succession War. With about like 90%, basically like close to 90% of people saying it's at least great, and then 30% of people saying it's their favorite arc in Hunter x Hunter. Here, let me ask this. Knut Worgen, thanks for the 2. What's your ranking of the Succession War princes? And thanks for your 3rd super. I feel like you supered a lot more frequently than that, though. Ranking the princes, I would say in terms of, if I'm ranking in terms of, here, hold on. Oh, we got a tier list for this too. If I'm ranking the princes, I feel like in terms of strength, here, let me do my poll. Let me do the poll. I was going to do a poll real quick. Do you think, yeah, that's the thing. I don't like the people say that it's not important. Like, hockey's, like, people overanalyze hockey or something. It's like, no, but it's important to the plot. Like, it'd be one thing if it's, like, just something random that, like, oh, don't overthink it or something. But it's like, no, this was the key to the, like, fucking all of Wano. Like, Luffy's whole fucking storyline in Wano was about him practicing and learning the different levels of hockey. And then the big important moment was him, like, recognizing the key to hockey that he'd been missing in chapter 1010. Like, the whole fucking plot of Wano was, like, not the whole plot, but, like, the main character, and, like, several of the main character, like Zoro as well, their whole plot in Wano and the resolution of Wano's plot was all about, like, learning the final levels of hockey or something. So it is important to the story. Like, either don't make it important, so it's something, like, we can easily forget. Like Zoro, like the swords in One Piece, right? Like, we learned about the different grades of swords in One Piece, but as the narrative progressed, I found that the different grades of swords almost never really mattered significantly in the story. Like, when Zoro's fighting a character, I'm never like, okay, well, what grade sword is, like, King wielding? Or what grade sword is, like, like, was Kaku wielding or something like that? It just never ends up seeming that important. So it's okay. Like, at times it's important. It's like, okay, we learn about Enma being an important sword. We learn about cursed swords and how they work. We learn about, like, black blades and stuff like that. But they never feel like that necessary. Like, we're never fighting and we're like, oh, we need to learn what grade sword Napoleon is or something like that, you know? Hockey's not like that. Hockey's crucial to the plot. Anyway, continuing on. Hold on. Do you think Succession War can surpass Chimera Ant? Or your favorite? Can surpass Chimera Ant. Because some people are of the opinion that Chimera Ant can never be surpassed. It's unsurpassable. Alright, in the meantime, here, let me show this. Okay. So, if I were to rank the princes, in terms of my favorites, what do you guys mean? Like, in terms of my favorites, or in terms of ability, or in terms of likelihood to win? How would you guys like me to rank this? Okay, good number of people. A lot of people think it can surpass the Chimera Ant arc. It's good shit. I still think that in terms of character writing, it can't really surpass the Chimera Ant arc because I think character writing and philosophy, I think it's very, very difficult to surpass the Chimera Ant arc because I think already the themes that it's getting at are more... I don't think that I don't think that philosophically it can get as deep as the Chimera Ant arc, but I think it will execute its themes very well. But we'll wait and see. I think character writing wise, it also cannot get as strong as the Chimera Ant arc because the Chimera Ant arc shown by really, really, really zoning in on a very tight cast of characters and going deep on a certain character dynamic two character dynamics, like a few very strong character dynamics. It just developed and developed and developed and took him in very, very unique directions, right? It's hard to write a Meruem Kamugi. You can't just write a Meruem Kamugi. Like, I don't know what the characters even would be in the Succession War arc that could be like a Meruem Kamugi level character storyline, right? This is more quantity of characters and plot lines and everything like that than hyper focused quality focus, right? Hyper focused quality character focus, right? that does not exclude the possibility of like, but those aren't the only things that matter, right? The Succession War is so good in so many other ways that by the end of this, we could be saying like, okay, it was still really good character-wise, still really, really strong thematically, and just narratively, plot-wise, what it did in terms of the direction the story took, how emotionally it impacted us, the shock, the surprises, the the cerebral aspects. We could be all saying at the end that this was just the best storyline, just story-wise put together. Okay, all right, fine. Let's do favorites first. If we're doing favorites, I would say like her quite a bit. This bum. Don't like her for some reason. Easy top tier. Right? Nothing really close. I'm gonna put him as my second. Zhongle is my second favorite. Tyson's kind of interesting. I liked Saleh Saleh. My man Saleh Saleh died way too early. I liked Saleh Saleh. Hulkenberg is interesting. Hulkenberg's an interesting character. I don't like Benjamin, but I like him better than these other guys. Like, he's obviously an interesting character. It's too straightforward for me. It's like he's positioned as like the archetypical like front of the pack type, right? Like literally introduce strangling a line, like, but you kind of know, unless Togashi for some reason goes like a very generic route, you kind of know that he's not the one that's gonna win this all in the end or whatever. Like, he's presented as the guy to beat, and there's some interesting aspects to his character, and he already knows Nan, and he's got all the advantages, and he's the first prince, etc. But there's just not much for me to cling on to character-wise for him. Don't care for Lazarus. It's a little boring to me. She was boring. Not much here. Yeah, there we go. She's a sweet character, but I just don't care for her that much. And then Camilla, maybe here. I think I like Katja better. Yeah. Okay. All right. So, favorite by far. No, you know what? Hold on. Wait. Okay, hold on. Hold on. These are princes I like. I like a lot. Okay. I think Camilla actually goes here. I think I like Saleh Saleh better than Camilla. All right. I think I liked her better. I don't care for Benjamin. Shit. I like these princes. Boring. Yeah. Boring or don't vibe. There we go. Who? Well, not who. Get out of the game. All right. Yeah. I think that's my feelings. How do you guys feel about my list? Favorite by far. I like a lot. I like these princes. Boring or don't vibe. Yeah. Just don't care for Benjamin. But like, he's interesting enough like on screen that I think he still makes this tier. He's not boring. He's just not, I don't know. That's what I got so far. Okay? Who's Beyond's child? I mean, the straightforward answer for Beyond's child is Serednik. I think ever since we got the panel of him looking like Netero, it just seems like, it just seems like that's something that we're approaching. Yeah. Ender Anami, good point. Benjamin is the played straight character in an arc where it's all about not playing straight. Yeah, Serednik was by far my favorite character in the Succession War, even before. Like, I'm not gonna lie, he is my favorite character in this arc right now. Okay, I got him, like, that's why it's hard when you say, like, how do I rank, like, Hisoka or whatever, like, Hisoka, Crollo. Serednik is my favorite in the arc right now. Okay, like over the course of this arc, right? Maybe over the course of the story, it's not gonna be Serednik or whatever. But I'm just saying, like, it's a feelings-based thing. I am always most interested and excited when a chapter is about him or focuses on him. So I know that just intuitively, he is the most exciting, entertaining character that I want to see more of right now, right? His personality was obviously very extreme early on. I thought that it was just like trying to be really dark for the sake of dark, but the further that he's gone on, sometimes you just really enjoy a character for their the particular vibe and unique traits that they bring, just seeing them interact, seeing their dialogue, their actions. Like, his has always been very entertaining. Then add in the sinister aspects of him turning out to be like a really good Nen user with what his guardian beasts also say about him, and now I'm very intrigued by him. And then finally you get the parallel future shit, and it's like, holy shit, that's one of the coolest abilities in the story. So it's a lot of factors coming together, and then finally we're starting to get some more layers to who the character actually is that are painting him out as a very like, I don't want this to be a redeemable villain, by the way. I don't think Serednik makes sense as a redeemable villain, but I like the idea that there's more to him. He almost feels like a Hisoka. He almost feels Hisoka-esque in a sense to me. Obviously, they have very different things, different motivations and everything like that. But this very sinister figure that's almost like you don't predict exactly the direction that their story is going, and you enjoy them simply for their mannerisms, their dialogue, their way of thinking, and their tendencies, right? And just the excitement that they bring on screen and what they might be doing to fuck things up for other characters and how far they might be going, you know? And then just the added bonus that he's got the most entertaining Nen ability in the story. All-powerful God Analyst is where would Morena rank? I think I need to... This next game scene, this card game scene that's about to play out, will tell me a lot about Morena, how much I like the character. But I like her so far as the potential that she possesses. Initially, I did not like Morena. Not her specifically, but I didn't like... I was having so much fun with what was going on upstairs with the princess there that I didn't enjoy switching downstairs to, like, you're just switching from the setting that you're now very comfortable with and very invested in to switching to downstairs, and now you're getting a whole bunch of exposition about here's the new characters and here are the 3 mafia families and here's who's in charge of each mafia family, and now this woman is going to be giving abilities to like 50 different characters in this family so that we can watch them all level up slowly for her like, it was like a whole bunch of new shit being dropped on us, and she was the source of like a whole bunch of new bullshit that was about to happen. So I was kind of just like, can we not do this right now? Like, you have already a really complex setting going on. Do we need to really delve into this shit? But now I'm intrigued, and I think this scene is actually going to be... I'm really looking forward to this next scene. Newton Morgan says, Morena has a ton of potential. I agree. Morio Anime says, when I was binging the Succession War in 21, his character helped me get through the slow moments I wasn't most interested in. I think that's when I binged it as well. And yeah, that was the case. And it just has helped that every time that we've come back with more Hunter x Hunter, he has consistently been, like, his developments have consistently been the most interesting. If I were to rank the princess by strength, it's just too difficult, because it's just like, it's like you've got princes that just aren't fighters, right? Like, and like he's dead. Like, you've got the princes that are clearly powerful ability users, right? And then you got princes who are vaguely might have really strong abilities. It basically falls into these categories, right? Wobble, we don't know yet, right? But this is kind of just how it shakes out, right? Like these are powerful princes as fighters, or like who have powerful abilities. Like Benjamin's probably number 1 right now, and then the like Benjamin's like it's fucking hard to figure out because like like so right now, interestingly, right now, this trio is really hard to make out because so if we look at Benjamin, right? Actual high level trained fighter, not trained fighters, but but literally the 3 most broken abilities in the entire story. Powerful potential abilities still to be observed, right? This is kind of how the abilities stack up right now, right? This is basically what it is. Like straight up, these, if you were to ask what are the 3 most broken abilities in Hunter x Hunter, it is arguably these 3 princes, right? Arguably these 3 princes. At the same time, they lose to, in my opinion, they still lose to characters that are trained fighters in Nen, right? But if we're just evaluating their Hatsu, right? It is these 3 as far as I can tell, right? Unstoppable, like the single most unstoppable offensive ability. Like if you were dropped into the Hunter x Hunter verse and you were just like pick an ability, you might pick one of these 3. Am I wrong? Assuming her cat works the way that we think it works, the cat guarantees victory against anyone that kills you. The catch is they have to kill you, but in terms of how broken the ability itself is, if the condition is met, which is a reasonable condition to expect in a life or death battle. Like if the opponent doesn't know her ability, then she kind of it's just busted, right? Parallel future, obvious, no explanation needed. It's the only ability in Hunter x Hunter that's sort of like transcends a lot of like what we kind of know of in terms of like the limits of Hunter x Hunter abilities. Like this is not like the properties of rubber and gum. This is literally like projecting an alternate version of reality into existence and like making everybody else experience that, right? Like it's literally time based, like laws of our universe based abilities, right? It's time based abilities. And then the most unstoppable offense that we've ever seen, right? These are 3 broken abilities, but they're just in the hands of characters that aren't great fighters. I'm giving it to Benjamin because I think his ability's not as broken, but he's a trained fighter. Then these guys we don't know yet. I think that Zhang Li has a very powerful ability in theory, but we haven't gotten there yet. Tyson, same thing. Just not in order. None of these are in order, None of these are in order. It doesn't matter. Tiers aren't in order, okay? This is just eyeballing it. Yeah. So that's how I'd rank if it was just in abilities. And then if I was to rank like likeliness to win, that's hard because it's like likeliness to win. I already did a ranking of like who's best positioned in the like by the logic of the narrative, right? Like Benjamin's number 1, and Hulkenberg and Serdnik and Zhang Li, they've got a good shot and stuff like that, like But likeliness to win in real life, that would like from my out of story perspective, it's like that might be fucking Wobble or Fugetsu or something like that based on the direction Togashi wants to take the story. So that would require a lot more sitting down and thinking time. But anyway, guys, I'm gonna try and find a window to do a Hunter x Hunter video. I just have to decide if I'm doing it on Manga Morj or on the main One Piece channel, and when a good window to drop it would be. I need to talk about my editor as well, because he has a normal workflow that I don't want to disrupt. Yeah, but thanks everybody for tuning in. I'm probably gonna call the stream right here. Let me just make sure I'm not missing anything. Likelihood to win, it's just like in story versus out of story. It's complicated. Yeah, I think that Nov did manipulate space and everything. That's true. Yeah, I think I'm gonna try and squeeze out this video. The video is related to a lot of things that we talked about today, so I feel encouraged to do the theory. And yeah, I'll try and find a time to do it. I'm just curious. So maybe you'll see it on the One Piece channel. Otherwise, you will be seeing it on the Manga Morj channel. So yeah, with that, I will talk to you all later.